You're tuned in to the only all sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
When the bases are loaded, smart investors don't step back. Find out what they're doing from international money expert Doug Goldstein on the Goldstein on Gelt Show, Mondays at 7 p.m.
This is Tamar Kass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
This is Dimitri Salita, and you're listening to IsraelSportsRadio.com.
From the Amic Refined Studios in Jerusalem, Israel, our nation's capital, it's Louis Live! Now here hosts, me, and Raphael Geller. How you doing, Raphael?
Good. Excited for a really crazy good show.
We have a special 3-hour show tonight on Louis Live. It's going to be capped with Jordan Farmer, former Maccabi Tel Aviv star, and two-time NBA champion. At the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to have Butler Bulldogs head coach Brad Stevens. He's made 2 trips to the national title game, and he's 35 years old. That's pretty impressive.
Right.
And we'll have some other special guests along the way, but we're going to get it started right now with a great guest. He is the president of Global Athlete Management Enterprises, and he's a professor at Rutgers University. Please give a warm Louis Live welcome to Jason Belzer. Jason, how you doing out there?
Good. Glad to be on the show and talk to my other brethren in the land of milk and honey.
Absolutely. Well said. So a lot of impressive things on your resume. One of the things I want to get to is you're the executive director of the Jewish Coaches Association. Tell us, how'd you get involved with that endeavor?
It's a great question. Jewish Coaches Association has been in existence for about 5 years. I personally represent a lot of different college basketball coaches, a lot of Jewish coaches, and a couple of years back we got the idea to get together at a Final Four and offer some free bagels and lox and see who might come out if we advertise it as the Jewish Coaches Association. And the first meeting we had about a dozen people there. And then the next year it doubled, and then it doubled again. And we're going to probably have close to 200-something people at our meeting this year, Saturday in New Orleans at the Final Four.
Wow. Okay, very impressive. Do you tend to find that Jewish coaches are looking for some sort of camaraderie or brotherhood? Hey, it's kind of not the most common thing all the time to have a Jewish coach in the NCAA. So do you feel that they like this idea and they want some kinship out there?
They do. I mean, first and foremost, Jews of themselves are a tribe, right? So
right.
They come together, and there's that shared value and belief system. And, anywhere you have a group of Jews, they're going to find each other. And it was kind of ironic that there wasn't an association that catered to Jewish coaches, Jewish athletes. And so, when we brought the organization together, it was pretty amazing to see how many people started to come forward and be passionate about being Jewish and teaching the values that they have from the religion and their daily lives to their student athletes. And so it's grown tremendously. There's been some amazing feedback. There are over 150, 200 Jewish Division I coaches, both head coaches and assistants. We don't have a lot of head coaches. We have about 9 or 10 at this point. But we do have about 100, 150 assistants. So Jews are very, very prevalent in college basketball here in the United States, but unfortunately no one knew about that until we came along a few years ago and started championing their cause.
It's interesting. There's that old saying, bagel line theory, that if you're in the line in a bagel shop where you see someone, let's say, with a yarmulke or a kippah, you kind of go up to him and say, hey, I'm also Jewish. So you make that point right on that they are eventually, the Jews are looking to hang out with one another. Are there ever any issues regarding Jews playing, I can phrase this the right way. I know when I was at university, I would sometimes find difficulty with a professor who had me take an exam on a Jewish holiday or Shabbat, something to that effect, that I don't always feel comfortable doing. Do you ever find that the coaches maybe don't want to go to a certain practice because a holiday comes up, or are we not at that level yet?
That's a great question. We are in certain circumstances. I think first and foremost, anyone that's interested in coaching in college basketball and is Jewish needs to put away the fact that they're going to think they can get away with not coaching or playing or doing whatever on a Saturday. College basketball is played on the weekends, and there are no exceptions made in that respect. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of what you have to deal with. On the lower levels, we dealt with a situation last month, in fact, at Houston, where a Jewish private school was playing or was scheduled to play in the state tournament championship, and they had originally been scheduled to play on a Saturday. And the coach and the students and the school said, we can't do that.
Right.
And they didn't want to change the date, so the school ended up boycotting the tournament. And it was an unfortunate set of events. And I guess on the high school level, that's something that can happen, but I don't really foresee that happening at the college level. You know, if a Jewish coach can't coach, they're just going to fire him. I mean, that's really the reality. Now, if you had an all-Jewish team, maybe a little bit different. You know, BYU, Birmingham Young University, which is a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, a Mormon school, they don't play on Sundays.
Right.
But the entire team is Mormon, or the coach is Mormon and the team is Mormon, and that's kind of how it's done. And so they schedule around that, and they've been around for a long time. But there is no quote-unquote Jewish school on the Division I level, at least. You have some smaller schools that are predominantly Jewish, like Yeshiva University, like Brandeis, and they do schedule around it. But we're talking on the highest level, not going to happen anytime soon, just because of the way that things are.
It's interesting because I recall that issue came up with BYU last year in the tournament, correct? They were talking about scheduling the game on Sunday or not. That was somewhat of an issue. And we had Tamir Goodman on a couple of weeks ago, and he was famous because he did not want to play on the Sabbath, and Maryland was going to take him anyways, but then it didn't really work out with the injury. So it's always an interesting case in the world of college basketball.
Hi, Jason. You're on with Rafael right now. How are you doing out there?
Good, doing great.
Good. I just wanted to talk about some of the coaches that we have had on that are part of your organization. We had on, we first started off with the smaller schools, the MAC schools. So we had on Coach Dambrot, which was very exciting because we got to talk to him about the whole LeBron James coaching and all that. And actually one of his former players is actually playing in Israel right now, Romeo Travis. So we got to talk to him about that. We also ended up talking with Coach Sarandoff, who just got hired this year. Is he part of your organization?
Yeah, he is. He's actually up for the Red Auerbach Coach of the Year award. Him, Coach Braun, and Andy Asonoff, who is a Division III women's coach in Boston. And so we're going to make that announcement Saturday at our meeting at the Final Four. So,
very cool. We actually had, I believe, last year's Red Auerbach Coach of the Year, Josh Passner, on. That was really great to talk to him about how it was like at Arizona under Lou Olson, how he really went to college just to kind of be a coach. He never really had an intention to play at Arizona. He just went to learn from one of the best. And speaking of Coach Braun, we just had him on last Thursday, and also it was a pleasure to talk to him because he was so humble. I believe he has over 600 wins as a head coach, and that's always something very extraordinary in any coaching field. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your company that you're the president of, the Global Athlete Management Enterprise Incorporated. As I mentioned, we had Coach Braun on, who I believe was participating in the collegeinsiders.com tournament, which from what I heard, what I know, you are a very big force in organizing that and make sure that works.
Yep, that's right.
Can you tell us?
Okay. Yep, I can give you a little bit more information about that. So the College Insider Postseason Tournament, the CIT, it's a 32-team tournament. It's for teams that don't participate in the NCAA or the NIT. We only take teams from the non-BCS conferences. You can kind of call it a quote-unquote mid-major tournament, but we have teams from Conference USA and the WAC, which are all kind of a tweener league. And so this is our fourth year, and we developed a tournament because there's a lot of great teams that don't have opportunities to play in the postseason because they come from smaller leagues. For example, this year, Weber State ended up with 25-plus wins, and they didn't get selected to go into the NCAA or the NIT, so they came to play in our tournament. And it provides an opportunity for kids to continue playing, for seniors to extend their careers, for coaches to get an opportunity to get in the postseason, to get some wins, to be able to develop their teams for next year. So we are at the championship stage, actually flying out here in a few hours to Salt Lake City to get up to Logan, Utah. Utah State is playing or hosting Mercer in the championship game tomorrow night. So we're excited. It's an awesome event. We've had 2 Jewish coaches participate in this year, both Ben Braun and Rob Senderoff at Kent State. And it's a great opportunity not for just Jewish coaches, but for everyone in college basketball in general. So.
Right, and it's always horrible when you're watching those conference tournaments in early March and of the mid-major teams, and you see these teams, like you said, they won 25 schools, and they lose in the conference tournament, and then you wonder for the seniors, is this going to be their last game? You know, they play hard all season, and it just comes down to this one game in the conference tournament. So it's very good to hear that there's another tournament going on. My question, I've always been interested, I'm a huge college basketball fan, is do you have competition with the CBI, which is also another tournament? Or is that the same?
No, we don't, because
Okay.
we don't compete with the CBI. Generally speaking, we've been established as kind of that third best tournament. We choose our teams. In fact, before the season even ended, we had about 50 teams that were interested in participating in our event. The CBI takes high major teams, quote unquote. I mean, I think their championship is between Washington State and Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so, but they take teams that are under 500. They've taken teams that are 3 or 4 games under 500. We don't believe that any team in college sports should be participating in the postseason if they're under 500. We don't believe a team like Pittsburgh that finished the season like 16 and 15 and had a 5 and 13 conference record should be participating in the postseason. We're there to provide opportunities for teams, good teams that don't get a chance to go to the postseason. Pittsburgh and Washington State and all those other schools have plenty of chances to do well during the season, and they didn't. Whereas our teams had great seasons, and it's just how politics work in the NCAA, where the big teams get the bids and the little teams don't. So.
Okay, that's very interesting. I haven't done full research on it, so that's cool to know that you guys only take mid-majors. I know we're having Coach Stevens on from Butler later, and I know he participated in the CBI. But no, that's great information. I just want to ask you, I believe you started teaching this year at Rutgers, or maybe last year, very recently. What kind of experience has that been? You seem to be doing everything right now. You're always in charge of something else. What is that like going to the classroom?
It's fun. I mean, it's an awesome opportunity. I was asked, Rutgers is my alma mater. I went there for undergraduate and law school, and they had asked me to come back and teach the students. So I happen to be the youngest professor at the university now.
Wow.
And it's interesting. I had a situation my first semester last year where one of my classmates who had left school and went to do 2 tours in Iraq and came back to school to finish up his degree, and I ended up teaching him in one of the classes.
Wow.
So it's been an awesome opportunity to give back to the next generation of young minds, and certainly when you have a young professor, I think the students relate to them better, and they see someone that's done so much and accomplished a lot within the last few years, and they can see that as an attainable goal for themselves.
I want to ask you, what is generally the mind frame of a student going into one of your courses? They looking to conquer the world, kind of be the next Drew Rosenhaus, if you will, or they simply want to learn more about sports management?
That's a great question, too. I mean, a lot of students, college students, I mean, I think you can remember when you were younger and in school, you kind of have some concepts. You see what people do, but you don't know exactly what it is. I mean, you say you want to be a sports agent or a senator or a lawyer or whatever it is, but do you really know what those individuals do? And so I think that college is more important in learning skill sets necessary to be successful in any line of work versus just actually working towards a singular job. I'm successful in what I do, not because I got a undergraduate degree from Rutgers in sports management, and then went to law school. I'm not an agent because of that. It was part of my upbringing. It was part of what I learned, but I became an agent because of things that I did outside of school. And so I try to teach that to my students. Yes, they're interested in working in sports, but I try to give them a broad range of skills and knowledge that's necessary to be successful, even if they don't work in sports. And if they do work in sports, it could be as a general manager or as a coach or an athletic director or maybe even as an agent. But yeah, I think it's important to learn the general skill set. And a lot of people, particularly in the United States, walk into a sports management program and think they're going to walk out with a job and a six-figure salary somewhere in sports. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. For anyone that's interested in getting in sports out there, whether it's in the U.S. or in Israel, sports is one of the most competitive industries out there. It's because of that, it's very low paid. And there's a lot of people that want a job. So you have to get in there at any position possible and work your way up. And you don't go work in sports for the money. You work in sports because you're passionate about what you do, you're passionate about the subject, and you get up every day and you say, I love what I do and I want to do this, versus, having your 9-to-5 job, getting your paycheck, and waiting for the weekend. And that's what I tell my students all the time. And, we'll see how that works in the future. But I think I've slowly started to make an impact on some of them. So.
Okay, I just had very well said, but I just had a question. So you got your law degree. What made you decide that you wanted to become more of a sports agent or go into the sports industry than become a lawyer? I know as being a sports agent, there's a lot of things that are involved that are kind of like being a lawyer, but what made you go down the path of the sports industry rather than being a lawyer in a law firm?
So I never went to law school with the intention of being an attorney. I don't practice now, although I'm a member of the New York and New Jersey bars here. When I was in college, again, I was one of those students that didn't quite know what he wanted to do, just wanted to be involved in sports in some capacity. And one of my marketing professors had invited a sports agent to come into class and speak. And after I heard him talk, I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be a part of. And so I started reading as many books as I could on the subject. I sent out 100 different resumes to 100 different companies and got one response for an internship, ended up taking that internship and parlaying it into another opportunity, and eventually started my own company. And when I went to law school, again, I was never intending to become a lawyer. I went to law school with the full intent of getting a law degree to help me in my pursuit of being an agent. There's a misconception in the world, and that is that in order to be an agent, you need to be a lawyer. It's not true. If you want to be licensed by the NFL, you need a graduate degree. It doesn't have to be law. If you want to be licensed by another league, don't need to be a lawyer, don't need a graduate degree. The reason why many lawyers are agents and vice versa is because when you become an agent, you have to build a practice. It takes a while, and you have to find opportunities to be able to make money. And so being a lawyer and having some experience in contracts kind of lines up with that mantra of, okay, I'm going to be able to put bread on the table while I build up my practice so that I can become successful and, eventually go full-time as an agent. A guy like Scott Boras, who's probably one of the most successful agents out there, who represents, hundreds of Major League Baseball players, didn't turn a profit in his business for over 10 years. And so he was working as a lawyer, and he was practicing being an agent at the same time, and he built up his practice slowly, kept reinvesting his money until the point where he could open up his agency full-time, and now he is arguably the most successful sports agent in the world.
All right, I have to ask this. I know this is a little bit of a curveball, but let's do it anyways. My understanding in the movie Jerry Maguire that the character Bob Sugar was based on Drew Rosenhaus. Do you happen to know if that is true or false? Because you are in the sports management field, and I figured I'd give it a shot.
So the movie Jerry Maguire in general was based around Leigh Steinberg.
Okay.
Who is an agent, or used to be an agent out in California, a very successful guy. He recently declared for bankruptcy and went into rehab for alcoholism, unfortunately. But Bob Sugar was loosely based around Drew Rosenhaus.
All right.
At that time, Drew Rosenhaus was kind of making his rise to fame. And around when the movie came out, he was the first sports agent to ever be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And so, yes, he was certainly kind of the inspiration for Bob Sugar. And, you know, that movie, it's 15 years old already, or 16 years old, I believe, and it is, in a nutshell, the best representation of what the sports business is and sports agency business is. I mean, they hit the nail on the head. And from someone speaking from it who's been in the business for a while, yes, it's very cutthroat. It's very ruthless. There is no loyalty. It's very unfortunate in that circumstance, and that's why you have a lot of very smart people that make exits from the business very quickly. I mean, you know, you look at a lot of different sports agents that end up leaving and doing something else completely, or sometimes if they have the opportunity to become general managers of a league or go on to the actual sports team side versus being an independent agent and going out there. And but it's true. It's true. It's not it's show business, not show friends, as Bob Sugar once said.
You know, are there athletes also like a Cuba Gooding Jr. who will get on a phone with an agent and say, "Show me the money," or it's not that far? The movie took that a little too far for that part.
You know, I think that there is some circumstances. I mean, you have athletes that switch from agent to agent to agent, looking for the new and best opportunity. And I've had circumstances in my career where, fortunately, I've yet to have a client leave me, but I've had potential clients that I've recruited who have literally said that to me. They said that if you want to work with me, you need to show me the money. And these are individuals that, you know, as you can imagine, they weren't signed with another agent, so they were looking for a payout even before they really had anything going for them.
Wow.
And that's really not how I run my business. I choose to be as ethical as possible when it comes to these things. And so, you know, if you want to work with me, or you're going to work with me and you're going to sign with me because you believe in what I can do and not because I paid you off, or that I promised you to get you something. There's certainly no promises in the sports business, and I don't intend to make any of them to anyone. So.
Okay, speaking of your clients, how does that work? Because at the end of the day, they are your clients, but do you develop friendships with them as the years pass by? How does that work? I've always been very interested in that.
Sure. So, I mean, you know, I can really say that the thing that drives me in this business, you know, before it was about passion about being in sports and the sexiness of being an agent, but what really drives an agent that's been in the business for a while is the relationship that he has with his clients, that friendship. You know, you're through thick and thin with your clients, just like Jerry Maguire was with Rod Tidwell. You know, the ups and the downs, and particularly with coaches who, you know, have good seasons and bad seasons and accomplish great things, and, you know, and then maybe don't get the opportunities that they deserve. And so that's what's amazing to me, and that's what's beautiful. I mean, the relationships that I have with my clients, and I hope that those relationships last long after that their careers are over. And that's the whole process of building a relationship. That's how everything works on in the sports business. The sports business is entirely based off of relationships. That means that if you want to break into the sports business in any aspect, it's about who you know. And what that really means is that who you've gone out and developed a relationship with. People assume that you can walk into the sports business or be an agent and just recruit clients and sign a whole bunch of people, and that's it. It's not how it works. You have to develop relationships. And to develop any relationship whatsoever, whether that's a friendship with someone, whether that's a significant relationship with, you know, a significant other, with family and friends, it's about bringing value to that relationship in some form or another. In the terms of a relationship with a client, you're bringing value by giving them opportunities and negotiating the contract and building that friendship. When you're building a relationship with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever it may be, you're bringing value in the form of companionship. And most people miss that concept. They think that they can suddenly walk into a situation and have a relationship and start working somewhere, and it's not how it works. It's all about the time that you take to bring value into that situation and help that individual, and then that individual is willing to help you back.
Well said. Really can't be said much better than that. Jason, we thank you for the time. We have to go to a break, but again, what an impressive resume. President at Global Athlete Management Enterprises, a professor at Rutgers University of Sports Management, and the executive director of the Jewish Coaches Association. Jason, it's certainly been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'd love to have you back on Louis Live again another time.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to the next time. And if you guys ever need anything, feel free to give me a call, and we'll get you some Jewish coaches on there, okay?
Yeah, sounds
Thank
good.
you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jason. Be well there.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Jason Belzer, and what a great conversation. He gave you information of the inside level of how sports management works, sports agent world. And the Jerry Maguire thing is so funny because if you take a look at the dates of the birth of Drew Rosenhaus, you'll calculate that he's about 29, 30 years old when the movie came out. So he was already had that legendary status or rep or shark or whatever enough where they made a movie about character about him in the movie Jerry Maguire. It was a great role by Jay Moore. It's probably his best role he's ever done. And it just tells you the status of Drew Rosenhaus. I mean, that was 15 years ago.
Right, and since then...
And telling that Drew Rosenhaus didn't make a profit, didn't make a dollar profit-wise for 10 years, just tells you how hard and cutthroat the business really is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something where you really have to be all on board, realize that it's not going to be easy. It could take a lot of time. And as Jason said, just develop as many relationships as possible. And at the end of the day, if you do that, things could work out. But, yeah, it could take a long time. And luckily for Mr. Rosenhaus, I would say it worked. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's not the most liked guy, but there's a saying that you might not like a certain lawyer, a certain agent, but in crunch time, you want him on your side.
Right.
You know, it's that type of thing. Like, people might not like Alan Dershowitz, but if you were charged with a capital crime, you're going to hire him if you can. Mm-hmm. You know, if he decides to come to you pro bono, you're taking him. And same with Rosenhaus.
You'll be happy.
If a company wants me to do broadcasting for a football game and Drew Rosenhaus agrees to negotiate the deal, I'm taking him. You know, and I'm going to forget all that shark stuff. And the funny thing is, I remember he was on David Letterman around the whole Terrell Owens thing.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Back with the Eagles, where he wanted the extension of the contract, and the fans were booing him. And David Letterman was on it pretty good. And then he said, well, what about Peyton Manning? You know, does Peyton Manning deserve the money with your Indianapolis Colts? And Letterman said, well, of course. It's, you know, Peyton Manning. It's my Colts. You know, that's the thing. People want the guy on the other team maybe not to work out. But if he comes on your team, then you tell ownership, yeah, give him whatever he wants. We want him. Let's go get him. So it's always funny how it works. And Drew Rosenhaus also personally saved someone's life. I think he is CPR trained, and he saved somebody's life. And I think he made a quip this, and it was nice to be the good guy for once, you know, for a change.
Yeah.
So he knows his role. That thing with T.O. was still a little weird.
Yeah, very weird. And then, yeah.
For a lot of reasons. And
it continued, too, when he went to Dallas.
And also he represented, so I think he still represents Chad Ochocinco. I know that he represented at the same time.
Yeah. That's always fun with Chad.
Yeah, and you have kind of two similar guys. But, you know, give Drew where credit is due. And that he represents the top guys. They might be flashy, but they're good ball players most of the time. He gets them pretty good contracts, and he gets a good cut. That's all the way around. You know, business is business. He made the point, you know, it's market value. If Terrell Owens is worth a certain amount of money to a franchise because he brings more people to the stands, he brings more ratings to television ratings, then he might deserve more of a cut. He is bringing ownership money. If the choice is between, you know, people always think, well, I don't want to give an athlete more millions of dollars than he has. But that money's either going to that athlete or to the billionaire owner. I mean, the money's not going to the fan. That's all done. Once you pay your ticket, that money's there, and it's either going to the owner or to the player. So if you look at it that way, it's a different concept. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll have some programming announcements. You're listening to Louis Live at IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Harry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here, Louis Live. Quick broadcasting update program. A note, this Friday will be the Israel Bowl, the quest for the Ofri Becker Trophy between the Tel Aviv Pioneers and the Tel Aviv Sabres. That'll be noon local time. We switch our hours here in Israel, so that will be 5 in the morning on the East Coast of the United States. If anyone is interested, staying up and listening to the game. I know some people out in Arizona are going to, because the Zinker brothers are in the ball game on Friday. So look at your local times. But remember, Israel will be changing our clocks on Thursday night. That game can be heard on our sister station, Israel Sports Network, isn.co.il. We will have two of the principals of the ball game on Thursday's program of Louis Live: Itai Ashkenazi, the star quarterback for the Tel Aviv Pioneers, and Saeed Abilafia, who plays for the Tel Aviv Sabres. That'll be this Thursday on Louis Live. We'll take a break, and on the other side, it's Final Four talk. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Harry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music, and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live, a lot to talk about before we go to the 6 o'clock hour. And let's begin with not the Final Four, but the NFL. There's an interesting story. Bill Parcells maybe getting back into the limelight of coaching the tuna. He is actually one of my favorite coaches in all of sports history. I think he's hilarious. I love his psychological games. He coached, speaking of Terrell Owens, coached Terrell Owens in Dallas, referred to him as the player. He had a lot of fun stuff with T.O., especially when T.O. tried to kill himself in the fall of 2006 with taking those 15 pills. And yes, I said he tried to kill himself. Anyone who believes he took 15 sleeping pills.
No one has said that out there, but Ari Louis just put it on the record.
Anyone who believes that someone will take 15 sleeping pills on accident is an idiot and a moron. No one does that, okay? Anyone who takes pills, I'll be honest, like I take some pills, I know how many pills I'm taking, I know when I'm supposed to take them, I know what they do to me.
It's true.
It's true. And he's a professional athlete, so his body is his temple, his body's his livelihood.
And especially with T.O., if you look at his body.
He has a great body.
Crazy body.
50 sleeping pills, I mean, you're supposed to take one sleeping pill if you need to take it, not 15. And no one takes an accident. It wasn't like he was eating a sandwich and all of a sudden, I didn't put enough tuna in. I'll put some pills. They look like tuna. I got confused. And I hit it with cheese and lettuce and didn't know what I was doing. So don't believe that for a minute. The guy's nuts upstairs. And not because he works at your roast house, but he is nuts upstairs. He is mentally ill, and he was in a very low mood and tried to kill himself. But anyways, when that happened.
Anyways.
Bill Parcells handled that brilliantly. He just said he didn't know what was going on. It was hilarious because at the time he was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Of course he knew what was going on. But at that press conference, they asked him nonstop about T.O. He just said, I don't know what's going on. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Right.
I'll have to find more information about it. I don't know. And they played a clip where they played just his answers, and all they wore pretty much nonstop was, I don't know what's going on. I'll have to get back to you. So he's hilarious. I mean, how else would you handle something like that? He didn't get mad. He didn't lose his emotions. Right at the end, he said, I'm sick and tired of these questions, and I got to find out what's going on, and I'll get back to you. And then he walked off. But it's not such easy situation to handle when your star player tries to kill himself. So, and any star player, especially T.O. So he handled that very well, and he's thinking of coming back to coaching, taking over the Saints. As you know, Sean Payton, at this point, has been suspended for a year because of the bounty scandal. Now, that suspension could be reduced to 8 games, where he appeals it. Interesting thing is, Sean Payton, there's a Bill Parcells coaching tree. Sean Payton is under it.
At Dallas.
Yeah. So Payton, he was an understudy to Parcells. Parcells somewhat groomed him to be a head coach in the NFL. Then Parcells comes in, and they met on the Saints job. They talked about it. He may be back in. I think that'd be great for New Orleans. There's not a lot of guys out there you could take to come into that situation and take over after what happened. Parcells could do it. And I think if he does it, the Saints were a playoff team last year. They're still a playoff team, probably with Parcells. NFC title game. I really believe that.
But remember, we did talk about, I forget who we talked, with our Southern inside, Clint Carter. We talked about that division with Newton's emergence, the Falcons always, being better. And who am I missing? All right, Falcons, the Panthers.
Wait, Tampa Bay.
Tampa with Josh Freeman. So it's a very good division. But I got to do this. Before we move on, for all our listeners out there who did not know, yesterday was Ari Louis' birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say happy birthday. And everyone who's listening out there, you don't know how hard this guy works every day to make sure the network keeps going. So happy birthday, Ari.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I had to do that because, we didn't have a show yesterday. So
it's true. Feeling fine at 29.
29. I thought you were 22.
I wish. I would probably have less gray hairs. And Cave of the Station Going has put 1 or 2 gray hairs on the side of my head. and when I have a beard, you can see gray hair, also a couple of. But I have not hit 30 yet. I have 1 more year. As they say, don't trust anyone over 30. So you guys can.
I have 1 more year.
1 more year can trust me.
Okay.
And after that, don't believe me. Assume I'm some agent shark-like person with a fake smile and weird teeth, and don't listen to me. But 1 more year you can. And 1 more year, listen to, this is the last year, listen to me, and that, the Saints got to take Parcells. I don't know if they will do it. They might go after someone a little safer. One thing with Parcells, he's a coaching genius, but like a lot of geniuses, they have a lot of baggage. And as you recall, he's not like the New England. He was a coach in New England, retired, and then 9 days later joined the Jets.
Which is, the arch
nemesis.
Yeah.
So he changed his mind in 9 days? I don't think so. I think he had a backdoor deal with the Jets.
It's Bill Parcells, and he had his thing in Miami, which he did help things. He helped turn things around. He hired Soprano, who I believe the first year they won the division.
Well, that's Bill Parcells. Whenever he goes to a team, he makes them better. The Cowboys, before he got there, hadn't won a playoff game in 10 years, and he got them to the playoffs.
Did he get fired from the Cowboys, or did he leave? What happened? Contract?
I think he resigned, or they didn't renew the contract.
Okay.
But he did not get fired.
Okay.
Now, of course, also another weird thing with that whole Patriots thing when he left. They were in Super Bowl 31 against the Green Bay Packers. That was his last game as Patriots coach, and he did not fly back with the team, which was pretty weird. So he does some weird stuff. I mean, there is no getting around that. I'm not going to pretend he's not a weird guy. I think he has a time clock, and that he is good for 3 years. I think you can get 3 years out of him, and then he does something weird and has to leave. But in those 3 years,
3
you get a Super Bowl.
Maybe a Super. I mean, let's be honest. This Saints team, they returned a lot of players. I think they signed Colson and even Meacham. I don't remember, but they're pretty. And of course, they still have Breeze. Breeze will always put you in a situation to win the game. I don't know. I think with Parcells, this team is the front runner in the division. So I think that they'll be fine. I really, even without Parcells, I don't know.
Still have Drew Brees, hopefully, right?
It's not like we're not talking about the Seahawks or some team that's a 500 team or the Rams. We're talking about a team that has a ton of talent. What was interesting is a lot of the coaches there did not want to take the head coaching position. A lot of the guys got offered. Sean Payne had a meeting with his guys, and he said, okay, we want to try and keep this within the organization because it's always weird to go outside. And, so Pete Carmichael said no. Everyone said no, so I think they're going they decide to go out. Anyway, I think Ari has a hilarious clip for us to play.
It's the tuna. It is prime.
Speaking of Terrell Owens, on Wednesday he did mention the fact that when you talked to the team on Monday, he didn't pay much any attention to some of those comments. Does that disappoint you, the fact that he said he was...
No, because he sucks you guys in. He hears everything I say. Okay, and he can tell me 3 weeks from now what I said today. So he sucks you guys right in. So consider yourself sucked.
Oh, Bill.
I really didn't want to do that.
You know how many years you're going to have to look at that soundbite now?
You think you like playing the media game more than what you...
Look, fellas, I got to go to practice. If there's something important to talk about, let's talk. If not, I'm going to practice. Okay, I'm not a dealer in chit chat. It's a time of year where the intensity level's up.
And he just leaves.
He's got some great stuff. The whole thing with part of the reason he is nicknamed the Tuna because I think he looked at one of his players and said, "What do you think I am, Charlie the Tuna?" from a reference to a commercial about tuna. So he's he's just got some great stuff. He just kind of plays the psychological game with Terrell Owens when he didn't play the preseason and didn't show up to camp, and then played, but he had an injury. Bill Parcells went on this tangent making fun of. He says, "Well, you know, T.O.'s taking really good notes and he stays awake in class." He's one of him and Phil Jackson, 1 and 1A for me. He's more entertaining to me than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's got some good stuff too, but Parcells talks, a little bit more.
Bill usually keeps it more silent. It's kind of his silence. It's funny.
All right, we'll play one more clip. There again, if you get a chance, you have some free time. Bill Parcells, type him in YouTube. The one I just played is the most popular one. Has 250,000 plus hits. And then I'll tell you what he does. His tradition with first-round draft picks. Then we'll go on to the Final Four.
Well, you know what bothers me, Chris? There are 1,950 players at the end of the day, counting practice squad, in the NFL. Only 2% of these guys are problematic. The problem with that is those 2% are getting about 80% of the publicity around here. So I think the league is portrayed and characterized as one that's comprised of problematic players. Now,
good stuff there for Parcells is a good point. I like that. I agree. I think that's with all society. The 2% are the bad apples, brings people down.
People want to hear about the bad apples.
Right.
That's society. It's sad but true.
So he makes a great point there. So he's a very smart guy. He's an educated guy, and he coaches not just with the psychology of it, but his tacticianness, if you will. I don't know if that's a word, but his mind as a general. In Super Bowl 20, his Giants team was not as good as the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills of the AFC title game scored 51 points. His team held them to 19 points. Yes, Bill Belichick was there. He's the defensive coach, and you can give him a lot of credit. But and that's all question who's actually better, Parcells or Belichick. But Parcells was the head guy. He was the guy in charge. And Bill Belichick has a lot of loyalty and for a reason because Parcells is that good. So anyways, Parcells to the Saints is a possibility. I think the Saints should grab that. I might be the minority on it, but that's my personal opinion there.
And maybe that story will break later on the show. A lot of news comes in our newsroom at 12 Eastern, which is in about 10 minutes, so we'll update you on that.
Yeah, so if it comes in anything official, we'll let you guys know. Okay, Final Four talk. Very briefly, before we go to the 6 o'clock hour, Louisville, I don't know where to begin. I don't know if I'm more surprised that Louisville is in or North Carolina is out. I'm probably more surprised that the Carolina Blue is out. Rick Pitino gets back in it. Rick Pitino seems to always be there. And, I'll go to my bracket in a moment. It's not too positive, I'm sure, because I had Carolina winning the whole thing. Those of you who had Kentucky out there winning the whole thing, they're still alive, and their chances look better than ever, obviously. One thing, in hindsight, whatever it's worth, whenever you're picking these games, at the end of the day, time and time again, who the head coach is matters more than anything else. I mean, Calipari and Pitino are two of the legendary coaches that are in the Final Four. Calipari's taken 3 different teams to the Final Four, and Rick Pitino's taken Kentucky. Actually, Rick Pitino's done the same thing. He's taken Providence, right? Providence, all those great Kentucky teams.
And Thad Matta is
Louisville.
a great coach at Ohio State. He was at Xavier and Butler.
And Bill Self of Kansas has also done a great job.
Illinois and at now Kansas. So,
a couple of years ago, they won the national title.
Right.
People sometimes forget.
Against Calipari's Memphis Tigers.
That's right. So you have 4 great coaches. They've coached against each other in huge games, sometimes title games. So coaching is generally number 1. And number 2, of course, we're going to have Brad Stevens on, who coached in a title game. So you'll have to ask him what was it like to coach against Coach K and Calhoun.
Calhoun, right.
2 legendary Hall of Fame coaches. Backcourt play, obviously, a factor as well, but coaching number 1. So
these games are – the Kentucky-Louisville game is just – how often does that happen just in the NCAA tournament? We got them in the Final Four. This is – I mean, people talk about Kentucky and Indiana as rivals or all that or whatever, but Louisville-Kentucky is pretty intense rivalry too, especially since Pitino left Kentucky.
Great point. Louisville's in Kentucky, in case you do not know, if you're not a map wizard out there. It's Louisville, Kentucky.
I think it's about Lexington to Louisville is about an hour drive or 2-hour drive.
That's going to be so awesome.
And Louisville's a 4 seed. So, it's an impressive job by what I think is interesting is everyone remembers last year UConn went on that roll, won the Big East tournament, and then rolled through the tournament, the NCAA tournament. Louisville's doing the same thing. They won 4 games in 4 nights in Madison Square Garden. Now they've really kind of they beat a great Florida team full of talent. A lot of those guys are leaving for the NBA from Florida. But a really, really talented team. They've had injuries all year. They were in the top 10 at the start of the year. Then they dipped out of the top 25, then back in. So this might be one of Pitino's best coaching jobs. He had some good Final Four teams a few years back. A lot of those guys were in the NBA. This isn't a team where anyone really is going to go to the NBA. It's just a lot of very talented, scrappy players. Of course, the emergence of Jupp, who's a Senegalese power forward who had 5, 6, 4 blocks every game. We'll talk about that a little later. He's really was the X factor, kind of like Davis. This is going to be an interesting game. We're going to have Davis against Jupp from Senegal. The Jupp is a guy that no one really knows about, and Davis is. So it's kind of going to be we'll see how that goes, and I think it's going to be a great game, even better than the Ohio State-Kansas game.
I don't think you could have really asked for a better semifinal matchup as far as Kentucky-Louisville is concerned. And for those of you out there in Israel, if you want to know when you can watch the ball game, it'll be about 3 in the morning. Wait, 1 second. I'm sorry, hold on. 1 in the morning. I apologize. 1 in the morning.
Right, 1 in the morning the first game, and 4 in the morning the next game.
Right.
So it's an all-nighter. If you're, I will be doing it.
And I'm having a birthday party here, so maybe if I'm up at 1 in the morning, maybe I'll swim by your place to watch it, or I'll figure out something.
You will be welcome to.
So that'll be a fun game, and a lot of people have Kentucky winning the whole thing. I don't know how many people had Louisville. Some did, and a lot of people had Ohio State.
Yeah, I had my original bracket, even though it struggled. It was in the bottom of our Israel Sports Radio. I'm happy to say I think I'm either the only person in our bracket or one of the only people that has Kentucky and Ohio State in the final, 74-68 Kentucky. Bam.
Wow. Okay, so your final's still alive.
I'm still good to go.
All right,
I didn't have Louisville, though. I don't think a lot of people did. That's a crazy choice to make.
All right. Well, we're going to reveal. We're going to have Ari Bluestein on tomorrow.
So
we'll reveal the standings.
Tomorrow, right.
Yeah, Ari will have a chance to be number 1 depending on how things break. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the winner gets an interview on Louis Live. So Ari could just be back next week.
And real quick, Ari, do we have time to talk about the other game? Or
Sure.
Okay, so the Ohio State-Kansas game is really the battle of the 2 teams that no one has given that much credit to. Yes, they're both 2 seeds. I know that. I know everyone's saying, what are you saying? But this Ohio State team really should have gotten the number 1 seed, and so should Kansas. Obviously, we saw what happened with Missouri and Michigan State. We also saw what happened with them. Ohio State, much, much more talented than Michigan State. Kansas, much better coach. This is the thing. That Missouri team, very good team, right? But at the end of the day, their coach, not a very good coach, was at Miami before he came to Missouri. And at Miami, he was there for 8 seasons. He went to the NCAA tournament once. So the Missouri fans knocked the decision when he got hired. And as soon as he started winning and getting them in the top 5, top 4, even I think top 2 at one point, they're like, oh, it's okay. He's done a great job, coach of the year. But then you go in the tournament and you start facing good teams. Or I don't even know if I want to call Norfolk
State
a good team. But this might be an issue of coaching. I mean, Frank Haith is not the best coach out there to lead such a talented team. Anyway, we have a minute, so I'm just going to wrap it up. Ohio State, Kansas. Obviously, Thomas Robinson against Jared Sullinger. Great game. 4 a.m. here. Try and stay up. Yeah.
Well, one quick question before we go to break. Are you surprised that these games are not close? Because I am. This game, if you look at the Elite 8 games, Kentucky wins by 12 points. Now, the Florida-Louisville game was 4 points.
But it really wasn't, though. If you're right,
Louisville had control of that whole game. Carolina loses by 13 points, and Ohio State beats Syracuse by 7.
Yeah, I mean, listen, North Carolina lost for one reason and one reason only, and that is Mr. Kendall Marshall, who actually just made the All-American team this year, averaged 10 assists a game, and his replacement just wasn't a leader. That's why they lost. The guys didn't know what they were doing. It just shows how important a point guard is in college basketball.
Right.
That's why they lost. This team probably would have won the championship if Marshall is healthy. Zeller was the ACC Player of the Year. Henson, Barnes. We're going to talk about Barnes coming up with our
next guest. And tell us who is on the other side of this commercial break.
Our next guest is Jason Blezick, who has been working in the whole NBA draft industry for a long time. He just started.
This is going to be a lot of fun, folks. I'll tell you. I'm a huge NBA draft guy.
He loves this stuff. We're going to be talking about the upcoming draft that's coming up. I think in April, June usually. I believe.
Yeah,
April.
It's usually the week after the NBA Finals.
Right, and that's so June, middle of June. I look at the list. I got us a mock draft. We're going to look at it during the break. But about 10 of the first 12 picks are underclassmen. So this is going to be fun.
Absolutely. All right.
Jason Blesnick.
Yes, Jason Blesnick. On the other side of this break, you're listening to Louis live at IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed frequent flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here at Louis Live, dialing up our next guest. You can hear the radio in the background. We're going to be speaking with Jason Belznick in a moment. He is the founder of NBADraftChat.com. It'll be a lot of fun to talk to Jason. We got a lot of questions to ask about the future draft. Hi, is this Jason?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Ari Louis with Israel Sports Radio. Welcome to Louis Live. How you doing out there?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great, and this is a fun segment we're going to be talking with you about. You're the founder of NBADraftChat.com, and I want to get right into this. There's been a lot of great drafts in NBA history. In your opinion, what is better, 84 or 96? 96, you have 10 All-Stars. 84, you have 4 Hall of Famers with Stockton, Barkley, Hakeem, and some guy named Michael Jordan. What is better, 84 or 96?
In my opinion, you'd have to say 1984, just because the caliber of the players, the guys who played in the NBA for years, like 10 years, they're Hall of Famers, they're top 50 players, in some cases top 5, some Michael Jordan, the best ever. I mean, 84 is kind of like the model for ultimate drafts, just because of the players that came out and what they did with their careers.
Okay, and you're right there at the gold standard of 84, and I think there are any doubters out there you could just convince them with that. It's a great point. You have some of the top 5 players in NBA history in the 84 draft. Now, often I have friends that say, where are there bigger busts, in the NFL draft or the NBA draft as far as number 1 overall picks? And some people might say, well, you have the Ryan Leafs of the world, it's the NFL. But if you look at the NBA, you had Michael Awolakande in the 1998 NBA draft. He was number 1 pick overall, and he was considered a bust. You had Joe Smith, number 1 overall in 1995. What do you think? Where are there more number 1 overall busts, the NBA or the NFL?
Honestly, I'd have to say the NBA, just because the NBA, the jump from college to the NBA is so much quicker than from college football to the NFL, just because players come out so much earlier in the NBA. Another bust as a number 1 pick is Kwame Brown, who was drafted out of high school. He goes down in history as probably one of the worst number 1 picks of all time. And then you have Michael Awolakande, who you mentioned. He's another one. Like, these are 2 guys who were sky was the limit in potential, and they're drafted number 1 overall. And to this day, Awokande's not in the NBA, and Kwame Brown's, the 12th man on the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks now.
Great point. Now, you mentioned Kwame Brown, and I know it's not the easiest question to ask you, but that draft 2001, is that the worst NBA draft ever? You had Kwame Brown 1. Now, Tyson Chandler, good player at 2. Took him a while to develop. You had Shane Battier in the draft, and you had Paul Gasol. But outside of that, you had Gilbert Arenas, second-round pick. But outside of that, not a lot there. Is that the worst NBA draft, or is there another one out there that we should be aware of?
There's, in every draft you could see there's some players that should be doing better than most. But the draft you said, in my eyes, is one of the worst. I don't know if it's the worst, just because you still had the Pau Gasol come out of that. That's still one guy who's a big name, a championship player. There are other drafts in 90s. I'm trying to think which one. Kenyon Martin was drafted number 1. I think it was 2001.
Right.
Yeah. Stromile Strift, who was drafted number 2 overall. I mean, that's one guy who never rose to his potential. I actually got to see him in person when I was with the Nets, and that's just one guy that always made me kind of angry because he's so good, but he didn't apply himself. And that's one thing about these draft classes, that when you have kids coming in so young, 18, 19 years old, going against these men who are in their late 20s, early 30s, it's not really fair. These guys, they come out, they're all these hyped up players, and they make it to the NBA, and they kind of get stomped on their first couple of years.
Another comparison I want to make with the NBA and the NFL, it seems like with the NFL, you have a longer process. People talk about, you have Mel Kiper from ESPN. It's his entire job for a whole year, the focus of the NFL draft. And then you have decisions and mistakes and so on. The NBA draft, it seems like there is not as much effort put in. I don't know if that makes sense. I know there's plenty of effort, but not as much as the NFL. Less players, obviously, the NBA draft, but is there another reason we're not thinking of why there's a less attention to it?
Well, it's the homework too. Like when you go into the NFL, you have to be in college for 3 to 4 years. All these guys are being looked at from freshman to senior year. In the NBA, you have a guy like Austin Rivers who just declared for the draft. And, nobody knows too much about him because he only played 1 year in college with Duke. He had his up and down moments, but, you can't study the players as much as you can in the NFL.
And the NFL has the Wonderlic test. I know the NBA has their own psychological tests. What is the most popular test to talk about potential NBA players going to their ball clubs?
It depends on the team. Every scout looks at something different. For me, I actually look at more their mentality. For me, you
hello? Hello? Okay, looks like we lost the caller. We're going to call him back right now, and we'll do that right now. Sometimes these technical things happen on live radio. Okay, we'll dial it as you can hear.
Hello?
Hi, Jason. Sorry about that. Looks like we lost you. I'm sorry, go ahead. You were talking about analyzing these potential players.
Oh, yeah. Each scout looks at something different. I like the mentality aspect a lot more because the player, you're not just drafting the player, you have to draft like his mentality. If he has that heart, the determination, the willingness to learn and get better. That's the main thing for me. Some scouts, they look at how does the guy score? What does he average on points against, top 25 teams, conference, non-conference? But for me, it's all about what's in their head. They have to get better. They want to get better. If they don't have the determination to, improve their game and take it to their maximum potential, there's not really any point in working with them.
It's true. Again, Kwame Brown is an example of that. His talent was there, his work ethic or desire, drive, whatever you want to call it, certainly not there. All right, with the NBA draft, how much of kind of these backroom things occur where a guy gets picked and then traded all of a sudden? We've seen Penny Hardaway and Chris Webber were traded on draft day with each other. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was traded later for Lavi Divac. But a draft day trade, how exactly do those go about coming?
Actually, it's a lot more of a strategy than you would think. The same thing happened with the New Jersey Nets and the Boston Celtics in the 2011 draft. Is the Nets drafted Juwan Johnson, I think, with 23rd or 24th. The Celtics drafted Marshawn Brooks, and then they just ended up switching the picks. And the whole reason to do that was because Boston wanted a little extra money, or they wanted a second-round draft pick. So it depends on the general manager, but a lot of teams will draft another player that another team wants just so they can get something extra about it.
Okay, so sometimes it's a kind of a technicality thing, a way to move around money and get contracts sized up. Now, as far, again, I want to talk a little more with NBA draft history because I love it. I love how the flow, the patterns of all these picks affect NBA history. Kevin Garnett, 1995, the 5th overall pick out of high school. Was he the most influential player in the draft in that he set up a domino effect of high school players coming out to the NBA?
High school players were so tough. Kevin Garnett, the first ever high school player drafted was, of course, Moses Malone way back in the 70s. And he's the kind of the guy that started, maybe we should just start taking these kids right out of high school. But when Kevin Garnett came, he was one of the few high schoolers that showed up the next day in the NBA, and he started playing hard. And he's doing the same thing today. He's got so much heart and determination that, it comes down to something as little as heart. If you got the heart to play in the NBA, Kevin Garnett could probably play another 2 or 3 years just because he's the willingness. He wants to do it. Then you got some other high schools that going back to the Kwame Browns and the J.R. Smiths and the Josh Smiths, all these guys who are kind of like Kendrick Perkins. There's so many high schoolers that got drafted. We don't hear about most of them anymore. We keep hearing about the LeBron James, the Dwight Howards, but there was 50 to 100 players, other high school players drafted over the last couple of years before that rule got in place that nobody knows about because simply they thought they were better than they were, and they never developed, and now they're in the D League or somewhere overseas.
All right, and as far as a player that was the most underrated, now Steve Nash has won 2 MVPs, was drafted, I believe, 16th in 1996. Dirk Nowitzki was 6th. Paul Pierce was 10th. Who, in your opinion, who's the guy that was drafted the most underrated, if you will?
You'd have to say Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, I'm gonna be kind of honest with you guys. When Dirk Nowitzki first came out, I was not a fan of Dirk Nowitzki. I thought he was just another stereotypical big man coming from overseas who all he could do was hit the three-pointer, and that was it. And as we've seen, now he's a championship winner, an MVP winner. He kind of came onto the scene. I mean, he worked at it. He's a very unorthodox shot. I mean, everybody sees him with that little fadeaway shot that nobody seems to be able to block. When you're an unorthodox player, people run away from that because they don't know what to expect when you make it into the NBA. And guys like Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, who are incredibly talented but don't follow the exact NBA mold, have to play a little harder and prove themselves. But Dirk Nowitzki can go down in history as one of the best international players and probably one of the biggest hidden gems in the draft.
But I need to make a quick correction. He was picked 9th overall. He was traded for Tractor Trailer, who was 6th overall, Robert Tractor Trailer. That's why I made the confusion. But Dirk Nowitzki is in the top 20 scoring all time, and when it's all said and done, when he's retired, could crack top 15, top 10. So I like that point about Dirk Nowitzki.
Hi, Jason. You're on right now with Raphael. Ari's more of the history guy, and I'm more of the current guy. I'm a huge college basketball guy, and I just wanted to take a deeper look at this upcoming draft, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, definitely. I've been studying this draft a lot. Great.
Me too. I've been looking at mock drafts for a long time. So let's start quickly with the top 5. From what I see, no particular order, but we're going to have Davis and Drummond, Kid Gilchrist, Thomas Robinson, and apparently a lot of mock drafts are showing Brad Beal for Florida. Out of these 5, which, let me ask a better question. Andre Drummond, I'm a huge UConn fan. I watched him throughout the year. He kind of struggled a lot throughout the year. He is 18 years old, but he is 6'10", 250 pounds. Do you think, first of all, do you think he's going to go for sure? And second of all, what do you think we can expect from him in the NBA? Because he's hasn't proven that much in the college level.
Yeah, he's one of the players I've been following a lot too. And in the beginning of the season, I probably had him overall the second pick in the draft behind Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
After watching the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament, he did drop significantly in my eyes, probably to 6 or 7, somewhere in there. I do think he's going to go out for the draft. I think the way this draft is mapped out with the stockpile of talent, the NCAA, I think all the top freshmen and sophomore are all going to go out together. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But as you said, Andre Drummond was very inconsistent. I mean, there were some games where he would put up 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks, and then the next game he would put up 2 points, 2 rebounds, and no blocks. I mean, I would contribute some of that to Jim Calhoun. I mean, when you don't have Jim Calhoun coaching you as a freshman, it will impact you a lot. You saw the same thing happen to Jeremy Lamb. But for a guy his size, he should have been a lot more consistent, a lot more dominant. He's got great leaping ability, long arms. He's got a great NBA body. But, I'll contribute a little bit of it to having not Jim Calhoun coach him. But I agree with you, he wasn't very consistent, and he has to prove something when he goes to the draft combine.
Absolutely. And another thing is he was supposed to go to prep school. I remember my family, I have a lot of family in Connecticut. I remember they called me and suddenly said, oh, my God, Andre Drummond is not going to prep school. He's coming straight to UConn. So that was a big deal. But, again, they had a very disappointing season. We've talked about UConn on this show a lot, and they have been in the top 5 or even top 3 teams that we've put as the most disappointing this year. Speaking of UConn, let's move on to his teammate, Jeremy Lamb. What happened to this guy? He came in as All-American, preseason All-American. I don't even think he made the first 3 teams. Struggled all year. Had a great summer with the USA under-19 team. And what do you think happened to him? Too much pressure?
I think more people start paying attention to him. I mean, last season you had the Kemba Walker, who was the big man at UConn, so everybody was kind of focusing towards him. This year, Jeremy Lamb's the main guy. Like on the perimeter, you got Andre Drummond in the post. And his shot is just not there. I mean, he's getting good looks. I mean, the way Jeremy Lamb plays is he likes scoring kind of like a Ray Allen kind of way does. He likes coming off screens and putting up threes and, looking for that open jumper. He was getting his looks, but he wasn't sinking the shot. And then UConn just seemed to fall apart more and more and more. And, I have to kind of blame it on Jeremy Lamb as, a sophomore, but as the most talented guy on UConn, he should have been able to step up a little bit more and increase his points, which he didn't do. I mean, originally I had him probably in my top 7, and now in my mock draft, I had Jeremy Lamb all the way down about 14 or 15. And that's still generous because, to me, I just don't see that killer instinct in him, and I think he needs a lot of work to improve his game.
Okay, great. So this draft has the potential to be – there's a lot of players that, we know for sure have a lot of talent, or raw. Let's say, let's call it raw talent. Except a lot of them are just, I don't want to say unproven, but just haven't really shown us really what they're capable of. A guy, when I describe what I just described, the number one guy I got to think of, I hope you agree with me, is Harrison Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a story. He came into high school being, people were saying he was, maybe the next, not Michael Jordan because he's 6'8", but, such an athlete, such a great body. And his first year at North Carolina, the first half of the season was horrible. The second half, much, much better. But this year, he just couldn't lead the team. We saw that in the game a couple nights ago. And he's still in the top 10 in most drafts, but there was a point where he was going to be 1, 2, or 3. What do you think happened to Barnes, and what are you expecting from him in the NBA? He has a very unique body size. He plays small forward, and he's 6'8", so that will help him.
Oh yeah, and he's one of the few true small forwards. I mean, he's, like you say, he's 6'8". He's got broad shoulders, good long arms. I mean, he's actually a real small forward, but he seemed to get too comfortable on the outside. I mean, if you've seen UNC games, a lot of times they're in transition, and he'll do a stop and pop from the three-point line instead of using those big shoulders and driving away from contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as he did that more and more, he got too comfortable shooting the three. He used to be known as a guy who could slash the basket and then also hit the three. Now he's a guy who hits the three while he can sometimes drive the basket. He kind of changed the way he plays to just be a straight-up spot-up shooter, which isn't his game. He's quick. He's very athletic. UNC has so much talent. He might have just got pushed out to the perimeter too much because of Tyler Zeller and the John Henson clogging up the paint. But I agree with you, Harrison Barnes. He could have been one of the best scorers in college. I mean, going into UNC last season, he had that kind of rep where he was going to put up 20 points a game. And then when I heard he was staying to his sophomore year, I was relieved because there's no way he was ready for the NBA last season. I still don't think he's ready. He has to really learn how to play basketball. All he does right now is shoot the three, force up a lot of tough shots. He's got to slow down, read the defense, read the offense a little bit more, and figure out what's the most effective way of getting to the basket instead of just shooting up random threes.
Right, and as you mentioned, it didn't. Maybe he would have been better on a team that didn't have so much talent down low, because there was a lot of times where Coach Williams said, feed the ball to Zeller. Zeller is the guy we want to run our offense through, and that might have been a problem for him because he came from Ames, Iowa, where he was a star, and he comes to North Carolina where he is the star, but there's other guys on the team that are, I don't want to say more talented, but are in the college level, had more potential, such as Zeller, who actually ended up winning the ACC Player of the Year. So, great stuff there. Great analysis. Now I want to talk a little bit about Austin Rivers, who just declared that he was going. I don't like this. I saw Duke play a lot this year. Again, very inconsistent, averaged 15 points a game. Definitely can drive. He showed that he knows how to drive. But I feel like another year would help him. I don't think he's one of those guys who's going to, let's not compare him to Kyrie Irving. He is a shooting guard. Kyrie Irving was a point guard. But what do you think about Rivers leaving?
Well, I'm a big Duke fan. I've watched every Austin Rivers game. I just wrote an article about him yesterday on my site, and I completely agree with you. When I heard he declared for the draft, it almost drove me to tears because I think that's going to be the doom to his NBA career. He's 18. He's going on 18. He's not mature for his age. His body isn't developed for his age. He's an 18-year-old kid going into the NBA, going against these men of the NBA. I mean, he's got good length. I mean, he can drive, but he's a ball hog at sometimes. I mean, he was the only playmaker on Duke. He knew that. Everybody else was three-point shots. So he did a lot of, jab steps and trying to fake guys out. That's not going to work in the NBA. He's going to get the ball in the perimeter and try doing all these fancy jab steps and crossovers. When you've got a Derrick Rose or a Kevin Durant guarding you, it's not going to work. They're going to send that shot 10 rows deep. he's cocky, but he's not that talented yet. I mean, his big game-winning shot over UNC was against Tyler Zeller, who, yes, Tyler Zeller is 7 feet tall, but any guy who knows basketball knows when you're on the perimeter and you have a 7-footer guarding you, it's a mismatch in favor of the shooting guard. Tyler Zeller wanted Austin Rivers to shoot that long three-point shot. He didn't play tough defense. Tyler Zeller just put his hands up and prayed it didn't go in, but it did. I mean, it's not like Austin Rivers had a crazy move to get open. It was just a mismatch. I mean, I think people are looking into that shot a little bit too much, and they're not looking at the fact that there was a 7-footer on him who wanted him to shoot. The whole point was to let Austin Rivers shoot that long three and just hope it doesn't go in. I mean, in the NBA, I really think he's going to get eaten up alive. And I was really hoping that since his dad is Doc Rivers, the head coach for the Celtics, he would say, stay in school, learn from Coach K. He's one of the best ever. The NBA will be there. The NBA will still be waiting for you instead of opting out his first year.
Right, and this team, if you look at it on paper, everyone's really coming back. I believe Plumlee is trying to decide I believe that's Mason. I always mix them up. Which one's the one who's the more talented one?
Mason is the more talented one. He's a junior, but he'll probably declare. And then there's Miles Plumlee, a senior, who he's definitely gone. And then they got another Plumlee, freshman, Marshall,
right,
who'll probably be in the rotation next year.
Right, and they're of course from Indiana, which is full of. Or they went to prep school, I think, in North Carolina, but they're originally from Indiana.
Right.
Okay, but so good. Let's move on to the kind of middle of the first round, the 14 through 20. There's a lot of interesting guys with different different skill sets, different stuff that they're going to bring to the team. The one guy that really catches my eye and really interests me is Royce White. This guy is just a really interesting guy, has the whole anxiety disorder, and he really brought a lot of attention to that. I'm sure you watched a lot of games with him this year. He sometimes would dribble the ball up the floor, and this guy is 6'8". So they put him as a power forward, but I don't know. He can't really shoot. That's kind of his knock right now. But he's just such a great player, and he makes everyone around him better. Right now, most mock drafts have him the middle first round towards the late first round. What do you think of him, and what is his potential?
He's actually very tough. And I actually don't have him in the middle of the pack. I have him towards the late first round, early second, and for the reasons you just said is I don't know what he plays. I mean, he brings the ball up, but he's not a good ball handler. They have him playing power forward, but in the NBA, 6'8", he should be a small forward, and he doesn't have the defensive skills, the lateral quickness to guard the smaller guys on the perimeter, and he doesn't have the height to guard guys in the paint. And, he's a very tough player. He's one of those guys that, depends how he does get on, what team drafts him, how he does in certain systems. But he's one of those guys, there's a couple in the middle of the draft who are kind of they're stuck between a forward and a guard. And, depending on which position they want to focus on, it's going to impact how they do in the NBA. But these guys who are 6'8", 6'9", who are playing power forwards and they should be playing small forwards in the NBA, or they're trying to bring the ball up when they shouldn't be. I mean, those things kind of bug me, and in my eyes, he's not a middle of the first rounder guy. I think there's a little bit too much more talent out there, and he's going to probably fall to the late first round.
Okay, interesting. So a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of you NBA draft gurus have to know international basketball, and that's something I've always respected because, as Ari mentioned earlier, you've got guys like Mel Kiper, and all they do is watch college football clips. So everyone understands college football. American college football is the same. You might have different styles, different formations and stuff, but it's still the same type of game. Where with someone at the job like you have to learn what the European basketball landscape is like. So I just wanted to give you props for that. And then speaking of that, I wanted to ask you, as we live in Israel, we have Maccabi Tel Aviv. I'm sure you've heard of them, a huge EuroLeague power. Can you give us a European guy to watch out for that plays in Europe, who maybe plays in the EuroLeague, or maybe not necessarily the EuroLeague, but someone who you think could make an impact? It's been a while since we've had a European really do anything. Rubio, of course, was drafted a couple years ago, so we're not going to count him. But who do you think could make some noise next year in the NBA?
Well, I've been following two guys who I think have a legitimate chance of playing in the NBA. The first one is Evan Fournier. He's from France. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right. He's a 6'6" shooting guard, and He's probably, if he declares for the draft, he's only 19 years old, and I think he's going to declare. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
He could be actually a mid to late first rounder, and I like him because he's 6'6". He knows he's a shooting guard. He plays a shooting guard. He's got a great shot from the outside. He's incredibly quick. He's probably got some of the quickest feet I've seen. He's very quick with crossovers and things like that. But he's also got broad shoulders where when he can drive the lane, he absorbs a lot of contact. He's probably the biggest international prospect right now is him. The one guy who I really like is Tomas Storansky from the Czech Republic.
Right.
He's 6'7". This guy is just built like a tank. He's 6'7", and he's got some strong upper body. He's got broad shoulders with muscle on top of him. And he's one because your international players kind of tend toward the shooters. And he's a guy who loves taking contact. He'll take the ball. He'll drive it. He's got an incredibly quick first step. And he's one of the few international players who's 6'7", but he plays bigger. He'll go up against these guys who are 6'10", 6'11", without flinching an eyelash. He doesn't mind getting smacked around and falling on the court. I heard he's going to actually be declaring for the draft. I have him probably between 25 and 30. So if Evan Fournier from France doesn't go out, Storansky's probably the number one international prospect.
Right, and Evan Fournier is from Poitiers, which I've actually gotten to see him play a couple times. As I mentioned, I'm a huge European basketball fan because I'm a diehard Maccabi Tel Aviv fan, which I'm sure, as you know, has had so many guys in the NBA. Whether they've had a couple guys drafted. Of course, Omri Caspi on the Cavs is a product of Maccabi Tel Aviv, and they've had a bunch of players who have been drafted but never exactly made it. But a lot of talent in the EuroLeague, and Maccabi has a game tonight against Panathinaikos, which is one of the top basketball clubs in the world outside of the NBA. So great stuff from you. We have about a minute, so I wish we had more time. But the second round, you look at the second round list, there's a lot of really, really recognizable, notable guys who played college ball this year that are on the list. Just real quick, John Jenkins from Vanderbilt, who was a knockdown shooter, C.J. Leslie from NC State, Fab Melo, Daron Lamb, Jay Crowder from Marquette, Marcus Demon from Missouri, Drew Gordon, New Mexico, Tu Holloway from Xavier. I mean, this list is Will Barton from Memphis. Like, this list is a bunch of all-stars in college basketball. This could be a very deep draft. Last question real quick. Do you see any of those names I just mentioned as guys who could produce in the NBA as potential all-stars or, let's not even say all-stars, just a solid starter?
Oh, definitely. I mean, all those players you mentioned too, they're all seniors. They're juniors. These guys are upper class. And the second round of the draft is going to be compiled full of these seniors, these 22, 23-year-old ball players. And there's one guy my personal opinion is my favorite, is Jay Crowder from Marquette, who's projected to be a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jay Crowder. He's only 6'6". He's going to have to play a small forward in the NBA. But this guy, he can shoot. He's got an incredible build on him. I mean, his biggest problem is his height, and that's something he can't change. But in the NBA, if he gets drafted by a Chicago or an Oklahoma City, a team that's up and down in hard physical defense, he can definitely contribute. You got what's his name, Draymond Green from Michigan State.
Absolutely,
solid contributor. I mean, there are so many guys in the second round that could be solid role players quicker than the guys in the first round, because the first round guys are young. They're going to need another season or two to develop their skills. When you can draft another guy in the second round who's a senior, who you can slide into the rotation right away.
Right, and Draymond Green, Big Ten Player of the Year, and Jay Crowder, Big East Player of the Year.
Right.
All right, one last question before we let you go. This is Ari, so it's back to a little history. Who is the bigger bust, Sam Bowie or Darko Milicic?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh, I have to say Darko Milicic just because of the amount of money he got and for what he has done nothing in the NBA.
True.
I mean, that guy has been making millions and millions and millions of dollars for being drafted second overall in front of Carmelo Anthony and Chris Bosh.
And Dwayne Wade.
And Dwayne Wade. Ooh.
Ugh. The Pistons like to have that pick over.
You look at that draft class and you look at pick 1, 3, 4, 5, but not at 2. You're like, that's an incredible draft class. And you see Darko Milicic at 2, who's playing for Minnesota right now, and he's not even in the rotation. And this guy's making, I think, like $8 million a year.
What a lucky guy.
That drives me nuts when I see stuff, when I see players like that.
Well, that wasn't good, but this interview was. So, Jason, we certainly thank you for the time, founder of NBADraftChat.com. Everyone check out that website. And Jason, great stuff. We got to do it a little closer to draft time.
Yeah,
and
we'd love to have you back on.
Definitely. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Jason, be well.
All right, take care.
All right, that was Jason Belznick of NBADraftChat.com.
That was really fun for me. I know for you, the history was great. For me, the current stuff is great. So good stuff.
It's always the argument, the 84 draft, the drafts have to compare to it. The 03 draft probably won't be good as the 84, but it'll be close. The 96 is close with 10 All-Stars. 96 has more great players, in my opinion. All right, we're going to take a break. And on the other side, former Florida Marlins broadcaster Roxy Bernstein. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Harry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.IsraelGym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here, Louis. Hello. Hi, is this Roxy?
This is.
Hi, this is Ari Louis with Israel Sports Radio. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. You're live right now on Louis Live, and it's a great pleasure to have you on. And a lot of stuff to ask you about because you have a very impressive resume and at a pretty young age, if you take a look at broadcasters in general, a lot of things to ask you about. But I want to first start with the Florida Marlins play-by-play announcing. I always felt that baseball is the hardest game to announce. I do the local football here, but football, there's things going on so quickly. In baseball, so many breaks. We had Dan Shulman on from ESPN a while. He also said it was hard. What is your secret to making a baseball game, maybe three and a half hour game, kind of go by and make it fun for the audience?
Well, first of all, the game's got to be good.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing, because if the game is good, people are going to stay, and the broadcast is going to be entertaining to listen to. But, there are those games where it's a blowout. It's a one-sided game. It's 10-1 in the sixth inning, and that's when you need to pull out stories. That's when you need to look. At that point, the game has almost become secondary because the outcome is not in doubt anymore. So at that point, that's where you really need to have a hook and why people are tuning in and make them not want to change the channel because they know what's going to happen in the game. So when you do a tight ball game, those are the easiest ones to do. When it's those one-sided affairs, that's when the broadcaster really is earning his money and trying to do what he can do.
Absolutely. And I've been there too, my friend. I've done some blowouts where it's like, all right, we just wait till the game ends and you got to pass the time along and you just hope they run the ball and milk the clock. Now, speaking of football, you had a co-host when you worked with Extra Sports 860, J.J. Stokes, who played in the National Football League. What's it like to be on a broadcast with a former professional athlete?
Well, it's fun. And the thing working with people like JJ and other people is they can give you a perspective that really nobody else can. They can take you inside the locker room, inside the huddle, and give you the mental approach of what a player is thinking in a certain situation. And we can guess and assume all we want, but unless you've been in there, you really don't know. And that's the perspective those people can bring. And JJ was very good about, especially in the NFL, and taking you inside and making you understand really what mentally is happening with these players, how they're feeling at a certain point of the season, what they're thinking in certain situations. And it really is refreshing, and people would gravitate toward that and want to know more and get as much piece of the action as they can.
It's kind of like back in the day, Howard Cosell didn't so much like having four players around, but I think broadcasters, I know myself when I do the games and I have a football player next to me, I like it. It gives me more of a different perspective, different picture on it. Now, you graduate college in 1996 and right away reported for ESPN Radio. So I'm curious, how did you get such a great gig right out of college?
Well, it was kind of a right place, right time. Because while I was going to school, I was working at a radio station in San Francisco that just happened to be the ESPN radio affiliate, and they needed somebody who could basically be there as full time. And I had done a little bit of freelance work for them while I was going to school, and they liked what they heard, and the opportunity presented itself to report at a number of events here in the San Francisco Bay Area, whether it was the 49ers or the Raiders who had just come back to the Bay Area from L.A. with the two baseball teams here. They were both pretty good, the Giants and the A's. You had the NHL with the Sharks. You had the Golden State Warriors, plus all the college events going on. So there was a need for somebody to be at their usage at a full-time basis, and that's where I fit what they were looking for.
And so you work for ESPN, kind of the top of the heap, and then a lot of jobs afterwards, it looks like you went to the minor leagues. I apologize. The San Francisco Demons, I assume, are a minor league club. I don't know that for sure. But what is it like then to go from ESPN, and then you have more of the broadcaster role that you probably want, but it's for a minor league club, not the major leagues like you later on got with the Florida Marlins?
Well, you got to pay your dues, and you got to. The only way you're going to get better at something and improve is to do as many reps as you can. And minor league baseball is a great training ground for people to learn and cut their teeth and what it's like to work on a daily basis in broadcast baseball. And, I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time in a couple of years out of college to get a pretty prominent job with the University of California and calling their basketball games. But I was doing some other stuff because I had aspirations of of doing some Major League Baseball, which I eventually accomplished. So there's a number of things that kept me busy and kept me working, and everything has kind of helped me along the way to get to where I am right now.
All right, and I'm curious because I see that you worked with Touchdown Radio Productions. Tell us a bit about them. I'm not. They're not as known, let's say, obviously, as the ESPN, but tell us about Touchdown Radio Productions. You were the vice president of their Pac-10 operations presently, and you started with them about 5 years ago.
Well, what it is, it's a national network that syndicates and carries college football on the radio.
Okay.
And we do a national game of the week. I work with Gino Torretta, the former Heisman Trophy winner. And what we do basically is we have a game every Saturday that we do nationally. 1 week we could be doing an SEC game. The next week we'll be in the Pac-12. Then we'll be in the Big Ten. It just varies from week to week and where we're going to be. But every Saturday I get to work with Gino and get to see a great college football game and call a great game. For example, last year we did the epic Stanford USC game that went 3 overtimes down in L.A., had a great game between Oklahoma State and Texas A&M when both teams were in the top 10 early in the year, LSU, Florida. So every week we're going to do a national college football game somewhere, and you get to see all the different environments and get a feel for what college football means in the different communities in the country.
And, of course, you are currently with the Randy Bennett Show. By the way, I know Randy's a great guy. We've been trying to get him on the program, so if you can put a word for us, we know he'll listen to you. We'll appreciate it. But what is it like working with Randy on the radio?
It's fun, working with different people. And, look, like I was talking about with JJ, it's all about relationships and having fun with people, and that's what we do. And, look, we're there not to take ourselves too seriously. We're there just to have fun and talk. And that's, and sure, we want to make it. The important thing is when you get a topic, look, everybody can talk, Tim Tebow or what's going on with the New Orleans Saints right now. And everybody can understand that, but our goal is to always further the conversation. And, well, why should we be listening to you? We want to make people think about stuff we're talking about. And, for example, last week on the radio show here in San Francisco, we were talking about the whole Saints situation with the bounties going on. Well, we wanted to bring an angle that nobody was talking about. So we started talking about, but what not just, okay, what happens to the players who left the Saints? They're on other teams. How do you punish them? Now, could Sean Payton, can he do stuff outside of coaching? Can he go to a football game? So all these things that maybe people don't think about, we're trying to bring into the equation.
Hi, Roxy. You're on now with Rafael. It's great to have you on. I believe you're in San Francisco, so good morning to you. The sun is down here, so it's nighttime here, but good morning to you out there.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a cloudy morning here in the Bay Area.
It is, it's kind of cloudy here. It rained here as well, so I guess things aren't so different 10 hours away from Israel. So as my co-host mentioned, you've had a great career. You've worked in so many different fields, I'm sure you've just learned so much about all the, minor league sports, professional sports, college sports. So again, it's great to have you on. Now I kind of want to talk about current sports, what's going on right now in the wide world of sports. So let's start off with some free agency talk. Let's not do the whole Peyton Manning thing first, because I feel like everyone does that. Let's look at the Peyton Manning, ex-Peyton Manning rivals team, the New England Patriots, who, in my opinion, have quietly really gotten a lot of great players to join their squad. What do you think of New England's kind of, I wouldn't say rebuilding, but just adding all those wide receivers, added Lloyd? What do you think they're trying to do there?
Well, I think they realize they need some weapons to help Tom Brady out. And that, okay, well, how can we improve this team? Well, Wes Welker couldn't do it by itself. I know they had to restructure Chad Ochocinco's contract, but there are ways that they can be effective. And really the only weapons that they had offensively, for the most part, and the real threats were the tight ends with Aaron Hernandez and with Rob Gronkowski. Then when Gronkowski got hurt, it really handcuffed their offense. So I believe they assessed where they needed to improve offensively, where they needed to get aggressive, and they're doing it on the outside. They need to get some wide receiver help, some guys that can go down the field and open things up for Brady. And I think it's a pretty interesting move that the Patriots have been doing.
Right, and Lloyd actually, I believe in 2010, led the league in yards, maybe even touchdowns. Definitely was one of the top receivers, so that's great. They also brought back Branch, who, of course, around New England is just known as one of those guys, hard workers, been there a long time. Kraft was very sad. Robert Kraft was very sad when they had to trade him. We actually had Robert Kraft on the show, and he was talking about that was a bittersweet moment when they had to let him go. But, of course, they got him back, so that was great. So, yeah, the New England's doing a lot of great things. They're really keeping everybody. They let go, I believe, of their starting running back, Ben Jarvis Greenella. So any thoughts on what they're going to do with that? Maybe draft someone, bring someone up from the depth chart. What are your thoughts?
Well, they have some young guys they're invested in. I know they took Shane Vereen in the draft last year. So there's a couple of young running backs. Plus, Danny Woodhead can be that change of pace back, the third down guy. So I think that's – look, New England, it seems like they just get a running back and they can plug in whoever. And it's more about, okay, how they use their passing game in many ways as their running game and to set up the run. And so, therefore, I just think with the Patriots, they can put anybody in that situation that is got talent. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis was a very talented player, and he did some things for that offense. But I believe the Patriots feel that they can find other people to pick up the slack and do what he was capable of doing.
Right. I mean, we are talking about Bill Belichick after all, and he's yeah. If you look at some of the running backs on the Patriots the last few years, no really big names, and Coach Belichick has made it work. So we got to give him credit for that. Of course, we also know I'm not going to say across the area, but in New Jersey, Tim Tebow. I had to get to it. It's kind of even being overblown here in Israel, but even in Israel, it's in the media here. So from New England to New Jersey, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just want to know what the Jets' thinking is. I think it's a good move for them. Are they bringing him in to be the quarterback? Are they bringing him to push Mark Sanchez? Are they bringing him in to back up Sanchez? And that's just, I think it's still to be determined and still to play out. The one thing, look, we know what Tebow is. First off, he's a winner, and wherever he's been, but as far as a pure passer and an NFL player, he still has some work to improve. Are they bringing him to be a specialist? Maybe he'll get 15 plays a game. Are they going to use him in certain situations? It's still to be determined how it will play out, but it's obvious that the Jets are not happy with Mark Sanchez. And even though they went to 2 AFC championship games in his first 2 years but didn't make the playoffs this year, there's some frustration there. And it's also, I think, a signal that this is not necessarily just Mark Sanchez's job, that it is open for competition. And they feel also, I think another big reason why they wanted to bring Tim Tebow in was to change the culture of the locker room with the Jets, that it was not necessarily the best place. There was a lot of issues off the field where you bring in a guy like Tebow and there's nothing to worry about with him. So there was a number of things in play for the Jets as to why they made the move.
Absolutely. And last year, as you recall, what the Jets would do when Sanchez would struggle, they'd go, you know what, Sanchez, we're going to put Mark Brunell in to get your first team reps, and that should scare you. And obviously, if I'm Mark Sanchez, I'm going, go ahead. I mean, this guy's, 50 years old, 100 years old. We all knew he never really was going to take Sanchez's spot. But now, Sanchez starts to struggle, and they go, okay, Sanchez, take a breather. We're going to let Tim take the first reps. So it could just be maybe to motivate, and that's a lot of money to give someone just to motivate someone. But I absolutely agree with you. The locker room really needs someone like Tim. Of course, I can't remember which player on the Jets it is, but one of the players has, I think, 12 kids with 10 wives. So maybe Tim could send him down and have a nice chat with him about that. I think it's one of their cornerback. It's not Revis. Cromartie. Antonio Cromartie. Right. So maybe that's why, as a joke. But okay, great stuff there. Now, of course, you're from the Bay Area, so we got to talk about the former Patriot, Randy Moss, who got signed to the 49ers to kind of help the 49ers have another downfield guy. I guess not another downfield guy, the only downfield guy. Vernon Davis, of course, is a great tight end, but he's not, he's not a deep threat receiver. Crabtree still hasn't really found his place yet. But what do you think? Do you think that Randy Moss at 35 still has something left in the tank? And can Alex Smith help him, get back to that level that we know Randy Moss is for?
I do think he still has something left in the tank. And for the 49ers to sign him, then they would have to believe that there is something there with Randy Moss. And you mentioned stretch the field and getting downfield, and that's the key for this team. They get to the NFC Championship game last year, and the 49er receivers had a grand total of 1 catch for 3 yards. And that just simply can't happen. They have to get better. And they bring in Moss. They sign Mario Manningham. You put Crabtree in the mix. And all of a sudden, it's a pretty decent pass receiving group that the 49ers have on the outside. You mentioned Vernon Davis. There's also Delaney Walker, who's a tight end that can make some plays.
Right.
They're trying to give Alex Smith some weapons to make this offense better and to make this team better. And I think it's a good move by the Niners. It's a low-risk move. And if it doesn't work, you can just get rid of him. We've seen teams do that. But if it does work, maybe the 49ers have hit a home run, that Randy Moss is still 35 years old. He probably still has something left in the tank, and the Niners believe that, or they wouldn't have brought him in.
Right. Look at Kobe Bryant. In my opinion, he is still the best player in the NBA, or maybe not the best, but top 3. So we had Josh Pastner on a couple weeks ago. One of my favorite quotes I've done a lot of interviews with different coaches, different people. My favorite quote from him was, "Age is overrated." Of course, because he became a head coach.
I agree with him.
Right.
And he got the job at the University of Memphis at a young age,
Mm-hmm.
and age can be overrated. If a player's still got something left in the tank and they keep themselves in good shape, why can't they still produce?
T.O. as well, Terrell Owens. Even that year with the Bengals, he still, I think, had 900 yards and 8 touchdowns. And no one really was throwing him the ball then. So, okay, good stuff. Moving on to the college level. First, some, I guess, random college stuff you could call it. And then, of course, the Final Four to end our segment. What do you think of this whole Martin leaving for the Gamecocks? Of course, Kansas State's had kind of, I guess, a good 5-10 years in their program. They had Bill Walker, they had Beasley, they had Pullen, who was actually Pullen was my favorite one to watch out of those 3 because he had so much heart. Of course, Martin went on CBS the other day and started talking about how he paid his former high school players when they moved on to college because, quote, college guys can't get or don't have time for jobs, which caused a lot of controversy because a lot of people in college do have time for jobs. Of course, we know they are college basketball players, but still, there's a lot of controversy, and Martin's a great coach, worked for Huggins, worked in the high school level, but he leaves for South Carolina, which doesn't really have any basketball history or program. They went to the NIT a couple times. They've had some good players. I think Balkman on the net. Knicks has been there, but this is not a good job, really, to go to. Of course, Steve Spurrier owns a school. Do you think something's going on here that we don't know? Why would he leave?
No, I don't think anything's going on. First of all, the money that South Carolina probably threw at him is one of the reasons why he left. Mm-hmm. You're right about not much of a history at South Carolina, which made it a surprising move to me, considering he'd established himself at Kansas State,
right,
created an identity, but for whatever reason, he felt he needed to leave, maybe with Missouri leaving and Texas A&M leaving,
right,
and the Big Ten. The Big 12 with 10 teams
mm-hmm.
isn't necessarily the same, and he's in the shadow of Kansas all the time.
Yeah.
So maybe he felt that he needed to change. Okay. And sure, when they throw the money at you like South Carolina did, it's hard to turn down.
Absolutely.
And he views it as a good opportunity. And look, I'm with you. I don't necessarily think it's the best move, but I understand the move from his situation. And the one thing that I do like about him, I really think he's a good basketball coach. I don't think he gets enough credit for being as good a coach as he is. People see his demeanor, they see his excitable personality, and they think that's all there is to Frank Martin. But when you spend some time around him, like I've been lucky enough to do, you realize how good of a coach he is.
Oh, okay, great. That's yeah, a lot. That's actually, I kind of want to ask you more about that because a lot of the time on TV you just see him yelling and barking.
But that's his personality. And
okay.
He wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's going to tell you how it is. He doesn't pull any punches.
Okay.
And you think his players might hate it, but they actually they love playing for Frank Martin because they know he cares, and that's what he needs to do to make them better. And they all understand that. There is that tough love that he gives off, and they appreciate it, and they know it's not personal. They know that he's just being frank, and this is what he needs to do to express himself and to make them better, and it seems to work for him.
Okay, and to touch on what you were saying earlier, I just looked it up. 6-year, $12.3 million deal. So that could have been a reason.
Right?
Right. So that, and I mean, this is really the South Carolina team that I just don't get it. Money, I mean, maybe, I guess it was the money, but besides the money, I just don't see a reason. I know a lot of players were leaving this Kansas State team. We're actually, it's really cool. We didn't do this on purpose. This is the way it worked out. We're having Curtis Kelly. I'm sure you might remember him if you have done some Kansas State games.
Sure.
Who is actually playing in Israel right now for Hapoel Tel Aviv. So we're having him on tomorrow. So this is going to be a great thing to talk about. Because I'm sure he played under Martin, and Martin might have recruited him. I'm not really sure what the dates with that, but that'll be really great to talk about. And of course, Hapoel Tel Aviv here is one of the top teams in Israel right now. So just letting you know in case you didn't know. But okay, so this has been so great that we've kind of run out of time. But real quick, we have about 2 minutes. Final four. I'm just going to ask you Ohio State, Kansas, who do you think is going to win? And Kentucky, Louisville, who do you think is going to win?
Well, you'd have to think Kentucky is the big favorite. With the talent they have and the skill level that Kentucky has, they are the team to beat. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win it because, as we've seen, a lot of times you get surprises in the Final Four. And the other matchup, I think Kentucky does beat Louisville. And the other side, Ohio State and Kansas. I think it's a game that's going to go down to the last possession, to be honest with you. I think those two teams are so evenly matched. I know they played once already this year, but it was way back in December. But here, the way the teams are playing right now, you look at the squads, and they're very similar. And it's going to come down to whoever gets the last shot, in my opinion. And I think that's the way the game is going to go. But I still think Kentucky is going to win the national title.
Okay, so Roxy, we are going to put you on record for that and hold you to it. I have a quick question for you. Our next interview at I believe 1 p.m. Eastern America time is with Coach Brad Stevens. I'm really honored to be able to do this.
Wow.
I've wondered, have you had any time with him? Is there anything you can give me, maybe some tips or some potential questions I could ask him?
I have not had any time with Brad Stevens.
Okay.
But, you know, his name is always prominently featured when there's coaching searches. Like Illinois, for example, is going on right now. A lot of these big-time jobs, and he keeps choosing to stay at Butler. I'd like to know, what is it about Butler that's so great and so attractive to him, and why he's so secure and feels so good about staying there.
Okay, so you know what, that was one of my questions, but that's a great question. Of course, I believe Illinois just asked him, and he rejected them as well as Coach Smart from BCU, and now they're moving on to John Gross from Ohio, and he probably is going to reject Illinois too, maybe. So, gotta feel sorry for the Illini fans out there, right?
Yeah, you know, I think with Illinois, they just got to understand their place in the landscape. They're shooting, you know, for that 4-run homer, that grand slam with only one guy on base.
Right.
You know, and at some point, they need to realize exactly, okay, what is the most logical step for us in our coaching search? And maybe, look, I don't blame them for hitting for that home run, but sometimes you have to just understand about, okay, what is the best fit for what we're trying to accomplish right now.
Okay. Well, Roxy Bernstein, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this time. I know my co-host has really enjoyed as well. We hope you can come on in the future. And thank you very much again for coming on. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Okay. See you later. Okay, so that was Roxy Bernstein, who has been doing everything, as you guys could tell you, Florida Marlins, college basketball, college football, everything. Great, really enjoyed that. Next, I have the pleasure of interviewing Coach Brad Stevens of the Butler Bulldogs. So we're going to take a 3-minute commercial break, and we'll be back. So stay with us. And then at 7:30 local time, 1:30 p.m., we're going to have Jordan Farmer. So great hour coming up, only on Israel Sports Radio. So stay tuned in.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Hello. Hi, am I speaking with Coach Stevens?
This is this Raphael?
Yes, thank you. Wow, I'm glad that we finally got a hold of each other.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in it rings straight to my cell, and I'm with my kids and my wife today, and I'm out kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. We're very, very happy we could have you on. It's really an honor to have you on. We've had a lot of great young coaches on the last couple of weeks. we just had Josh Pastner on, so it's an honor to have you on our show today. So how are you doing out there? How's Indiana?
I'm doing great. Everything here is great. Just looking forward to kicking off the start of next season.
Absolutely. Just before we go on with the interview, I just wanted to tell you that I'm actually, despite living in Israel, I'm Israeli born and raised here, but I actually spent my high school years in Bloomington, Indiana. So I am very familiar with Indiana.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bet you never thought someone from Israel would have a very big relation to Indiana. I actually grew up playing some pickup ball with Eric Fromm, who's on your team right now. So that's just a funny story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great kid. I really enjoy having him.
Yeah, and it's funny. I played against him when he was about 5'10". So a lot has happened since then.
Sure has.
Okay, so we just want to start off by telling our listeners a little bit about your history and your story, because it's such an amazing basketball story. You grew up in Indiana. You're an Indiana guy. You went to high school in Zionsville. You are pretty much the star on the basketball team there. And then you went to DePauw, which is a small school, I believe, in Greencastle or somewhere in that area.
Yep.
After that, you we were academic All-America all the time in there 3 times. And then you decided to kind of go away from the basketball program or field, I guess, and join Eli and Lilly. So can you tell us, before we go into what happened after that, can you tell us why you decided to not go straight into coaching, why you decided to go to Eli Lilly?
Well, it was a great job offer at a young age, and I had, known people all over my community that had worked there and had done really well for themselves and their families, and so it was kind of a no-brainer to see if that was right for me. Soon after I started there, I realized that it wasn't, that I needed to go out and try to figure out the ultimate path that I'd like to follow. And for me, that was trying to get back into the game of basketball. I think a lot of us that played athletics all the way through want to stay in athletics in some way, shape, or form. And for me, it was coaching, and for me, it was the opportunity to work at Butler, even as a volunteer, was too hard to pass up.
Right. So that's the next part of your story. You decide to leave Eli Lilly, and you become a volunteer in 2000, 2001. Now, I got to ask you this, because this is something I've always wanted to ask you. When you can be honest, we know you're a very modest guy, but I really wanted to be honest on this question. When you got this volunteering job, did you ever say to yourself, in about 7 years, I'm going to be playing in the Final Four, I'm going to be a head coach in D1 basketball after everything that happened to you? Did you expect that?
No. I was probably the negative side of me, the pessimist, was saying, well, this will be fun, enjoy it, see what it's like, and then when reality hits, go back to the real world. And I never dreamed that I would be able to move up in that manner and that quickly and in one spot and near my hometown. All those things are pretty surreal when you think about it. And then, get a chance to coach where we've coached and played the past few years just adds to that.
Absolutely. And a thing also a lot of people don't get, they think, when you guys went to the Final Four, where this Butler program come from. But there's some pretty good history at your program. Coach Thad Matta, who's at Ohio State, was there. Todd Licklider, who was at Iowa. A lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. So you really got lucky with ending up with an amazing program.
No, it really was. And my career path has been mostly due to and mostly enhanced by the great people that I've gotten a chance to be associated with. I started working for Thad Matta. He hired me as a director of basketball operations a few months after I started volunteering. He's how I got into the business. He was a guy that I became friends with at Butler's camp when I was just working to make a little bit of extra golf money in the summer after my senior year before I was going to start at Lilly. And he's really the guy that I kind of latched onto and really found to be inspirational in himself. He's a great guy, a lot of fun to be around, and he introduced me to Coach Licklider. About 6 years later, Coach Licklider left for Iowa after being named the head coach after Matta left, and in came Barry Collier, the coach whose camp we were all working. when I met all those guys back as our athletic director in 2006-07. And so I've gotten to work for three of the best coaches that I think have coached not only, certainly at Butler with other legends, with the people that have coached there, with Sexton and Theophanis, and certainly Tony Hinkle, who the building's named after. But as we go, as you look at it, what they've accomplished even in the state, in the Midwest, and just college basketball in general is pretty amazing. So I was lucky to be around those guys.
Okay, and as you mentioned, Collier used to call the way the Butler system was kind of made up, it used to be called the Butler way. I guess it's still, do you still call it the Butler way?
I don't call the way we play that. Okay. I think that the Butler way is a phrase that it's hard to define, but it certainly refers to the way we expect our players to represent our school. And that really has nothing to do with basketball other than playing with pride, playing hard, being a good representative on the school while you're on the court. As far as style of play, I think that's more dictated by who's on your roster in that given year. But the Butler way in and of itself came to fruition more from a values-based focus and more from how we want to represent our school off the court.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. One of the most interesting things, I think, as a part Indiana guy, my family was there during the Bobby Knight days, so I grew up learning only about Bobby Knight. That was the only thing I really knew about basketball because I was this kid growing up in Israel, so what did I know? After you guys beat Texas Tech in your first season as head coach, Bobby Knight said, quote, "I wish we played as smart as they do." How is, when you heard, you're a guy from Indiana. At this point, I think you were something like 30 years old. What is that like to hear that from a legendary Indiana coach talking about the way you coached your team against his team?
Well, first of all, it was a very nice compliment that he made. Secondly, it wasn't due to our coaching. It was due to our players. We had 5 guys that were 22 and 23 years old at the time. And they were the perfect guys for me to start my coaching career with because they knew how to play. They were really prideful in the way that they played. And no matter who was going to be at the helm of that team, as long as we just guided them and really didn't overdo it with them, they were going to have success. And so I think that it was much more, it was certainly a nice compliment. And the coaches, when things go well, get a lot of credit. When things don't go well, they get a lot of blame. But most of the time when the coaches are getting credit, the players should get a lot more of it because they're the guys that are out there doing it. So I thought it was a real compliment to them, not necessarily me or anything that I was doing.
Okay, and that year you won a record 30 games and you beat teams like Michigan, Texas Tech, as we just mentioned, Florida State, and Ohio State. Was Coach Thad Matta at Ohio State at that time?
He was. He's been at Ohio State since 05, 06, and he scheduled a 4-year contract with Butler starting at their place and then thinking that Greg Oden and Mike Conley would come back home to play, and we actually took the 1 year they were at Ohio State off, and so that never came to fruition. So we got the better end of that deal because we got Ohio State at home twice without those two. But it was, Coach Matta and I are really good friends, and I'd be dishonest if I wasn't saying that I'll have scarlet and gray on underneath whatever I'm wearing this weekend because I'll be rooting hard for them.
Okay, well, now we know we could put that on record. So you will be rooting for the Buckeyes.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll be rooting for the Buckeyes.
Do you think they can beat Kansas State or Kansas? Excuse me.
I think Kansas is really good. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Coach Self. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Calipari. Obviously, Coach Pitino. They beat us really well. Beat us really badly the last couple of years at Louisville, and I really like all those guys when I've gotten a chance to interact with them and meet them. But Thad's my first boss. Thad's the one who gave me a chance to get into this business in general, and you always pull for friends first and foremost.
Right. That's very important. Loyalty is a very important thing, especially in Israel. It's very important. Okay, so now I just kind of want to move through quickly. I know you're really busy and you're with your family, so I don't want to take that time up. So the next couple of years, you guys were very, very successful. One of the questions I always wanted to ask was, when you went into the season, at the start of the season, you had that year in 2009, 2010, you had a very good Gordon Hayward, Shelvin Mack, and I believe you also had, I'm blanking on the name, but he was your center.
Matt Howard.
Matt Howard, absolutely, Matt Howard.
Yep.
When you went into the season, you were ranked 10th in the coaches poll. When you went in the locker room, was your goal to make it to the Final Four? Was that what you wanted from your team?
No, I didn't think we were any good. I'll be honest with you. We went to Italy in the summer on a foreign trip, and the Swiss national team pounded us twice. Wow. And it really opened my eyes to how far we had to go. You know, the year before we were 26-6 with the exact same team, and if you would have turned around 3 possession wins, we would have been 13-19. So our margin for error wasn't that big the year before. So I thought we were going to be pretty susceptible to having one of those years where there's high expectations and it's going to be hard to meet them. But those guys just kept getting better. They kept getting better. Gordon turned into and proved to be a top 10 pick.
Right.
And a very worthy top 10 pick in the NBA draft. And Matt Howard and Willie Veasley, Ron Norwood, the guys off the bench, Sean Van Zandt and Zach Hahn. And the other guy that left early, Shelvin Mack, who, you know, was probably in many of our games, Shelvin was probably the, you know, second best, if not the best perimeter player on the floor, depending on how Gordon was playing in that day throughout that tournament run. So we had a lot of talented guys, and, you know, I've been really fortunate because I think we've, you know, the first time Butler had won 23 games was in 2000, and since then we've won more than that quite a bit. But I don't know if I've ever been on a team that was that, the combination of talented, coachable, and eager to compete.
Okay, very, very cool. So when you guys went to the Final Four, I've been at Butler University. I have a good friend who goes there. What was it like for the community and for not even the city itself and the actual school when you guys were making this run in the Final Four? Did you feel like you were representing kind of the small town Indiana? Because, you know, you got Purdue, which is Lafayette. You got Indiana and Bloomington. You even got Notre Dame and South Bend. But this is something not even like this. Is like real small town Indiana. What was that like for you to, you know, be able to go in the national scene and show everyone, these are my players, this is where we come from, and this is, I guess, the Butler way?
Well, the most important thing that I thought was this is the biggest media splash that will probably ever hit our school.
Right.
And so the most important thing we can do is represent our school right. And so I was really, really focused on, you know, with every interview, with every opportunity, that our guys were doing what they've always done, and that's just being themselves, but also making sure they understood that representing their school was first and foremost in their minds. They did a great job with that. Both Final Four runs, you know, it brings $1.4 million or $1.4 billion in free advertising when you add it up. And the thing that I'm so proud of, it was $1.4 billion in the positive look into our university.
Right, and that's something that I think a lot of people in Butler really was a real big deal for them, because a lot of people just know Butler as this academic school. I don't even think they have a football team, or if they do, I don't know if it's D1, but they're not one of those schools where you go where it's like a Big Ten school, where this is a small school, but in Indiana. And I think that's the key, is that this school is in Indiana. A lot of the guys who play for you are from Indiana. A lot of guys that the bigger schools in Indiana won't take. I believe that, one second, I don't know why I'm mixing up the name right now. Matt Howard is from Indiana, correct?
He is. He's playing in Germany now and doing really well.
Right, and Gordon Hayward was from Indiana. These guys weren't picked up by Purdue and Indiana University. That just shows what kind of talent there is in Indiana. The next thing I wanted to ask you about is, so you guys made the big Final Four run, and at the time you said you didn't think you would do it. When you guys went back there, did you just feel like this was a dream? What were your thoughts? You were playing this UConn team that kind of just came out of nowhere, won the Big East tournament, and then just strolled through the tournament. what was it like coaching against Calhoun, and what was it like being back there again? I mean, did you ever think you'd be back so quickly, or if at all?
Raphael, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Hello? Seems that we might have lost Coach Stevens. Coach Stevens.
Hey, Raphael, I got you back.
Okay, you're back. For our
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My thoughts on UConn are this, and UConn was a team that was outstanding at the start of the year, probably one of the top 5 teams in the country. Middle of the year, they struggled a little bit, as a lot of teams do, because the year really wears on you. But then at the end, I think if you add it up, UConn probably had 4 to 5 NBA players on that roster.
Right.
Maybe 3 to 4 when it's all said and done, and they played like it. They made it really hard for us to get shots, and I thought that team, more than any team that I've ever been around, just decided they were going to try to win every game and find a way to win every game. It's funny that I'm watching the NCAA tournament this year, and there's 1-point games and possessions at the very end, and we just felt like if we were in that position, we were going to win. And that's a really cool feeling to have when you're a part of a team, and it's pretty unique.
Okay, so last 2 questions. We know you're really busy. So you guys make it to the NCAA, to the Final Four, that is, and this year you kind of take a step back and go to the CBI, which is a very well-known tournament. But as a coach, it's your job to get your players to still buy into the system, still want to win, still want to play at the highest level. What did you tell some of those guys that were on the team last year about, we still want to win this tournament, we still want to play as well as we can? Yes, it's not the NCAA tournament, but it's still postseason, and, we want to win. So what was that like in the locker room with those guys?
Well, no matter where you play, no matter when you play, no matter what opportunity you get to suit up, you play to a standard. You don't play to outside expectations. You don't play to your level of your opponent. You try to play to your standard, and that's what we try to do. We try to get better. We won 9 of our last 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
We went from a team that had 1 guy in double figures for the entire year to a team that had 4 throughout the course of that winning streak. And so we got better. We use that to get better. We use that as a launching pad for the future. We used it to send our seniors out right. I'm disappointed because we came up a little short against Pittsburgh in a game I thought we could win.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm proud of the way they ended the season. But, I think, yet to be seen if we make the most of it moving forward. We still have a young team next year with 9 freshmen and sophomores.
Wow.
So we've got to have our old guys lead the way and start off a little bit better than we did this year.
Okay, and I'm a huge college basketball guru, and I watch all the conferences, but my favorite mid-major conference here was actually the Horizon Conference, and I just wanted to ask you, what do you think has really happened with the development of the conference? You got a team like Valparaiso, which has gone a lot better the last couple of years, even Cleveland State, and of course Detroit. Ray McCallum took over there. This conference has suddenly become a very good conference. Not that it wasn't before, but it's just more deep now, more quality teams. Why do you think that happened?
Well, I think, first of all, I appreciate you saying that. I don't think the perception meets reality here in the United States. I don't think that the conference, people understand outside looking in just how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I do appreciate you saying that. I think the bottom line is, and this happens in every league. We've had a great run in the early 2000s. Milwaukee had a great run for 3 or 4 years in the mid 2000s, and we've had a great run for the last 5 years. And what it does is, and when Milwaukee was really rolling, we were focusing and setting our sights on how do we beat Milwaukee? Who do we recruit to try to beat Milwaukee? And I think that's the way that it kind of works, and you end up with teams and leagues that are more balanced, they're better, they're deeper. I just think there's a lot of good players out there. We've got a transfer from Arkansas who's a heck of a guard, and he'd be the first guy to tell you that, hey, when you look at perimeter players across the country, minus the top 10, 15, maybe draft picks that are guards, there's not a lot of difference between 1, 2s, and 3s at the high major and mid major level. The difference is often at the size of the 4s and the 5s. Now, that being said, I think that margin is decreasing with, a lot of kids that are good enough with leaving after 1 year.
Okay, very, very well said. No, I really believe that. Also, Milwaukee I believe Bruce Pearl was the coach there, so there's been a lot of good coaches. It's a very solid conference. Ray McCallum could have gone to any school, and he stayed in the conference. So I actually ended up watching your conference tournament and just found it very, very competitive. So I want to leave you with this last question that I'm sure you get asked all the time. And before I ask it, I just want to tell you that I kind of have a better idea now of why you say what you say, just because I really understand your feelings towards this program and what they've done for you. The last couple of years, you've always had numerous job openings pop up, and you've always declined them. I mean, I know the answer, but I got to ask, why do you always decide that Butler is the best place for you to stay?
Well, the easy answer, whenever you're comparing, and
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed frequent flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Hi, we're back on Israel Sports Radio. We had an internet problem there we're going to try and get Jordan Farmer back on the line and explain what happened. Apparently all the internet went out in the whole neighborhood. So let's hope that Farmer is still available.
Hello?
Hi, Jordan. We apologize that all the electricity just went out in about 3 blocks in Jerusalem, so we apologize for that. Are you still available to talk?
Wow, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, great. So as I was saying earlier, right before we got cut off, you are an LA guy. You were raised there. You went to high school there. You went to UCLA there. So, and of course, you played for the Lakers there. What was it like when you made the transition from the Lakers to kind of the East Coast? It's a different mentality, different kind of people. What was it like for you?
That was a good experience. You know, a good life experience to live in the New York area and see a different style of living, different style of basketball. Got a chance to play a little more. So it was positive for me in my growth as a player and a person.
Okay, great. And as your time at UCLA was very successful. You guys had a great run in the championship game. What was it like kind of learning from Coach Ben Hallen? We know he's been going through a lot of stuff lately. So could you just tell us what it was like having him as your mentor and coach?
It was good. It was, the start of, my story and my career, really. And for him to play under a coach like that who's really defensively oriented and understanding that side of the ball and what it takes to win in the mental toughness and preparation, that was big for me, preparing me for the next level.
Okay, great. And your family's history is very, very interesting. Your mother is Jewish, and your father was not Jewish, but your stepfather is Israeli. And I believe your father played baseball. How was that like growing up, seeing someone play professional sports? Did that kind of help motivate you and help you decide, I want to be a professional athlete when I grow up?
Yeah, 100%. And I was around him and his career, his friends, my whole life growing up. So I kind of understood what it took and the sacrifice and commitment to be a professional athlete and realized that that's what I wanted to do. So I think it was a great experience for me growing up around that kind of atmosphere.
Okay, great. Now moving on to your time now in the Nets. What is it like being in a completely different type of team? To put a word in the best way, the Lakers are such a dynasty. This Nets team just has a new owner. You guys are moving to Brooklyn. You guys are building for the future, where the Lakers were not doing that. The Lakers were win now. The Nets are a team that has a lot of talent. You guys just got Gerald Wallace from Portland, I believe. You have a lot of good young players. You have a lot of great role players. You have a great coach, an even amazing owner who has gone out in press and said, I'm going to give a lot of money to make this team better. So what are you looking forward to in the upcoming seasons as a Net?
You pretty much said it. It's just life is a bunch of challenges, and this is just a new and different one. The challenge being on the Nets is completely different from the one being on the Lakers, and you kind of just got to realize it and be patient and continue to work hard. I know that good things are in the future, and you just have to, get through the tough times to be a part of it.
Okay, great. I got to ask you this. Are you surprised at what kind of season Kobe Bryant's having? I know you were a teammate of his and a friend of his. Are you surprised that at this age he can still, play to his ability, still be one of the top, if not best player in the NBA?
No, I'm not surprised at all. He's if not the best, one of the best players of all time. He works constantly on his game and takes care of his body, and he's tough-minded and physically tough, and just incredible professional, and it doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay, very, very good. So now, of course, we gotta talk about, most of the interview is going to be focused at your time in Maccabi Tel Aviv. I don't know if you know this, Jordan, but people here are always asking, when is Jordan coming back? When is Jordan coming back? I've been a diehard Maccabi fan for almost 15 years now, and to have you here was just an amazing time for all the fans, and we really miss you. So could you just tell us, I know it's a kind of a vague question, but what was your time like in Maccabi? You're only here for a few months. Some people think you were here a long time. Of course, the league in Israel is very long. You have this year you guys were in the Adriatic League, the Euro League, the regular season. So what was it like being a player on Maccabi Tel Aviv and getting to represent such a well-known squad across the world?
It was amazing. I've had what I consider the time of my life. And the people were so supportive. Maccabi, such a first-class organization, and living in Tel Aviv was amazing. The weather was beautiful. The food was great, and the fans love their basketball and support their team. So you can't ask for much more than that. From a basketball standpoint, just a life experience. I had a great time.
Okay, and we've had so many guys on from the league who are playing right now. A question I want to ask you, since you're playing right now in the NBA, what was it like going to stadiums up north or in the south where you really have 100 or 200 people at the game? Let's not bash those 100 people. They're very die-hard fans. Like, I'm talking about the teams in Gilboa, Galil, or maybe Ashdod. What was it like going into these arenas and really not seeing anyone there, but knowing that you're playing professional basketball at a high level?
To be honest, every game we played in, there was a lot of people there. Whatever the capacity of the gym, it was pretty much sold out.
Okay.
And that's just similar to what it was like as a Laker. Just knowing that everywhere you go, you're the show. People are going to come watch you. They want to either see you do what you do, or they want to be the ones to see you lose. And that's kind of how it is when you're on a big team and have high expectations. You always have a target on your back.
Okay, great. Moving on now to Coach Blatt. A lot of former players who have played in the NBA or going to play in the NBA, or a lot of people have said that Coach Blatt, a lot of players think that he can be a head coach in the NBA one day, or maybe an assistant. Are you one of those guys who really enjoyed learning from him, and what was your experience with Coach Blatt?
It was incredible. I played for a lot of good coaches throughout my career, and he was at the top of the list for sure. He understands the game. He understands how to get the most out of his players, and he takes it very seriously. And I really respect his opinion and appreciate the way he goes about his business. I definitely think he could be an NBA coach if he chooses. But he has a good thing going overseas right now, and coaching national teams and coaching Maccabi and other things like that. So it'll just be up to him.
Right, and as you mentioned, he coaches the Russia national team, which is loaded with talent. So he's really played with a lot of NBA guys. So that always will probably help him when some guys take a look at him. As we mentioned, you were with the Lakers. You won 2 championships there under Coach Phil Jackson, who probably will go down as the best NBA coach and one of the best coaches of all time. What was it like learning from him? Literally right out of college. I believe you were something like 21 years old your first season with the Lakers. So you're a young guy, and you come into this organization with so much history, and then you walk into the locker room, and there's Phil Jackson just staring at you. So how was that like?
It was cool. I mean, he's a really good coach. I was actually 19 when I came to the NBA.
Oh, wow.
So I was
okay.
very young. And just to play on the same team as Kobe and to be coached by Phil Jackson, and to play for the Lakers, a team I grew up loving, it was a blessing. And I was fortunate to have that early in my career and start me off on the right foot.
I believe that earlier in your career, this is something I was doing some research on, you were a teammate of Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver now, Steve Smith. Do you guys still talk anymore? Are you guys still tight?
Yes, we are. He actually just signed with the Rams, so he's continuing his career. He has a Super Bowl, a couple championships, so we talk about it all the time.
Right, you guys have both won championships at both levels in your professional sport. I know you're very busy. I know you guys are traveling right now, and you have a lot of games this season. But can you tell us what it's like, what this lockout season's been like for you? You just talked about the groin injury before we got cut off, but do you think that maybe the lockout is part of the reason why the groin injury happened, or was it playing a lot of ball in Maccabi, or what do you think about that?
I think it's a combination of both. I think you see it all throughout the NBA. There's a lot of teams going through injuries. There's not a lot of recovery time, back-to-back games. That's just tough on the body, and it's part of the business and part of the season we signed up for this year. So you just got to get through it and then move on.
Okay, last couple of questions. There's been a lot of rumors in the media here, a lot of rumors that a couple representatives from the national team flew over to America to meet you and talk to you about playing. Looks like we lost Mr. Farmar there. I don't know really what's happening. I know they're traveling. It's a game day, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that I'm going to try and reach him. We had about 10 minutes with Jordan Farmar, so we're happy about that. Anyway, we're going to go to a commercial break now. And
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.IsraelGym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed frequent flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Schutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.